I'll set your stream running also.
Oh, you started chopping there a bit. We'll figure it out.
That's probably because it was just initiating the stream. Hopefully now it will stop.
Oh, Ruby. There we go.
Right, so apparently we are live. I will wait for some of the chats to populate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Before I unveil the unveiling of the thing to be unveiled.
Ah. Well, if we're live... Uh-oh. Hang on. I'm still showing the wrong title.
Yeah, you have to change yours manually.
Yep. All right.
Mine I can change from here, but without your email and password and stuff like that, I can't do the same
right.
for yours.
I had completely forgotten. Oh, see, now here I'm going retard, and I've forgotten how the YouTubes work. There we go.
Generally speaking, the YouTubes work badly.
Yes. Okay. Wait a second. Okay, Mariel just post something? Must be.
Yeah, that's in shooting the shit. We have got our own chat room as well now, though.
Oh, well, okay. No, I meant in the stream because I'm showing the old graphic. Or are you not putting the new one up yet?
Mariel Bell has indeed. And Wolfie's in the chat as well.
Right on.
Nobody in mine. It's all lonely. Go to my chat, you. Everybody hates me.
I'm assuming you just called it Lopez and Moosecow?
Yeah. Well, I called it the Lopez and Moosecow show.
Okay, here we go. I gotta make sure I get the title right on my stream.
Kind of like the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, but not nearly as good.
Well, with fewer high voices, I would say.
Oh God, I used to hate Rocky. I really did.
Oh yeah, I just want to punch that little fucker right in the mouth. Shut up. Yeah, I was watching something today, and there was a kid character. It was an animated superhero film, which you have no interest in. And this one character, whoever did the voice for this kid, just seemed like this kid did nothing but yell the lines.
Oh, a bit like Steve out of Family Guy. Everything is yelled. Steve, the son.
Oh, that's Chris.
No, oh God, not Family. American Dad. Sorry, wrong Seth MacFarlane show.
At least it wasn't Orville, because that would get really weird.
Right, especially if there was a talking dog.
There. Fix that.
Wolfie, you are in the right chat, both as far as rooms go and also as far as the screen goes. Actually, Wolfie's in both the right and left chat, so does that mean Wolfie now has a split personality?
Yes. No. Yes. No. I think it means he's a college student. But I could be wrong on that.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a graphic of offense for him to sit on, so...
Did you say a graphic of offense?
A graphic of offense.
Do you mean as in, like, taking offense, or the physical barrier between two pieces of property?
Well, it could technically be both, because I'm sure it's quite feasible to steal a fence.
This has all gotten very weird already. I don't know what I'm talking about now.
It's all right. I long since forgot as well.
But there's the new Star Wars movie.
Oh,
and I haven't seen that yet, and that's largely due to a lack of interest. Because I saw The Force Awakens and Rogue One.
I've not watched any of the new ones beyond the original 3. Purely for assholish reasons.
Hello, butterfly, pagan cat, woman, thing, person. Our lovely kitten of kittiness, I guess.
A kitten who is morphed with a butterfly and of the pagan religion.
Yes. Hello, Mariel. Hello, Wolfie. Hello, pagan butterfly. There. I got all three of the people I can see. So no one can accuse me of being a complete dick.
And I've got Wolfie. Should we do the romper room opening? And I can see Mariel.
Oh,
Bell.
No, I don't. I don't have a mirror without glass. God, that always weirded me out. Why is this lady looking through a hole on a stick?
I was
cut that shit out.
And I was a kid as well, and it freaked me out because one day she actually said my name. And it's like, that's scary. Like, you can see in my house.
And
you can see when I'm being bad. And it's Fenrir. Or Fenris.
Oh, you got Fen. All right.
Fenris, not Fenrir.
Talks. Oh, Fenris.
Different person. Different person.
Yes. I see that now. See, it's I don't have the live stream that I'm looking at maximized, so I can't see the names on your chat so clearly.
Well, I
love being old.
I get them 20 seconds before you anyway, if you're watching one of the live streams.
Well, no, I was just wondering. I'm wondering, when did Fenrir change his name?
I did initially as well.
And then it hit me. God, I love it. This is what happens. You get old, and your brain starts taking shortcuts. I only had to see the Fen part, and my brain filled in the rest. This is why it's bad when I only hear part of a sentence. You know, it gets me into a lot of trouble. It gets me into a lot of trouble, and certain women will press charges.
The worst one is when I used to do Twitch streaming, my brain got into a habit of seeing a particular user and misreading in my brain their username every single time. And I could not correct it for the life of me. I once spent an hour practicing this person's name, and then they appeared in my chat, and I still got it wrong.
Naturally.
It's weird how they can... it's weird how your brain learns things wrong and you cannot correct it. It's like people who say chimney.
Oh, yeah. And, let's see, when we were kids in the 70s, they'd have they'd have one of the shows on Saturday mornings. There used to be Saturday morning cartoons. And that was the big thing when you only had 3 channels. Yeah. Get up early Saturday morning, pop your ass down in front of the TV with a big ass bowl of cereal, and just watch your fucking cartoons.
And when Soul Train came on, it was time to go out.
Yep. Hey, Metal Man joined on my end. How you doing, Metal Man? But he does claim to be Team Moosecow.
Only team to be on.
I only have one thing to say to that. Lopez.
I think we have sufficient people in at the moment to...
Yeah, go throw up the new intro.
Yeah, to display my smugness if it works, because it didn't work last time I tried to do it. But if it doesn't work, I'll figure out how to make it work because I'm stubborn.
Damn straight.
And of course my entire system lagged, so it just fucked that video right up the ass.
I don't know, it looks like it's coming through pretty good on my end. Oh, no, it stuttered.
Yep.
That really is a pretty graphic, you know?
Well, I liked it. I don't even know why I chose 20th Century Fox, the 20th Century Fox thing. It just seemed like a good idea at the time.
Century Fox is a little weird.
Have they actually changed the name of the company?
I don't think so.
Is it 21st Century Fox now?
No, I think it's still 20th Century Fox. Hey, Table Coon. Table Coon showed up on my end. He says, "Show me the Lopez," And I'm sorry, but I don't do sexual favors like that anymore.
YouTube will ban my channel if I do.
Damn straight. Lopez. Let's see. The yeah, I watched The Force Awakens, and I watched what do you call it? What's that other one? Yeah, Rogue One. A Star Wars story where I fall asleep in the last 45 minutes. And honestly, I had no interest in watching, what is it? The Last Jedi. That's the new one. Those two movies have just sucked all the interest out of watching. I mean, I'll still watch it eventually. I mean, I'm just not going to go out and give a damn, you know?
Actually, Mariel, this video has been up on my channel for a couple of days now, and has yet to have a content claim put against it, probably because it's so short.
Yes. I know that and I can't say how I know this. I know that, generally speaking, the algorithms that monitor for such things, have a 30-second minimum. If it's over 30 seconds, it will nail that content. If it's audio, if it's under 30 seconds, it tends to not pick it up. Yeah, I gotta kind of agree with the Mad Metal man. God, my fucking language. The first two were the best, and the rest are just okay. I mean, Return of the Jedi. Well, we were talking about this the other day with the kitten, the pig and butterfly kitten. We were talking about how in many ways that first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, when it came out, there's an element of you had to be there. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is you had to be alive at that time, because that was very much the days you had the 3 channels, and the movies was really a spectacular thing to get to go do.
Yeah,
you know, you didn't. It wasn't like it is now, where the movies are in the theaters for a few weeks, and then they start producing Blu-rays. I mean, this is back in the days before the VHS tape was widely, or the VHS player was widely present in people's homes. Pretty much all you had was the 3 channels, PBS, and the movie theaters for this type of entertainment. God, this makes me feel old. Well, it actually doesn't make me feel old, but it makes me realize how the world has moved on since then. But because of that, because of living in that culture at that time, I don't know who is Mitch Man, kitten. Because of living in the culture at that time, that movie had a different impact than it will on someone today, I think. Yes, well, Betamax doesn't count.
The genre of science fiction itself was still a rarity as well.
Yes, it was, very much so. And in fact, when it did, when it was put out there, if it wasn't one of the B movies from the 50s and 60s, then it was usually something pretty good. I mean, Logan's Run. God, what were some other ones from that era? The Time Machine in the 60s with Rod Steiger.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what they were, and I'm getting my TV series and my movies messed up, so I'm thinking, right, I'll keep my mouth shut and not prove that I'm an idiot. Even though everybody knows it anyway, but I've got reasonable doubt on my side. I like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I well, good plan, actually. Table Coon. Yes, I did not specify drive-ins because I count that as cinema. But yeah, the drive-in back then was a bit of a different experience too.
Unfortunately, that was something I never got to experience. The only drive-in theater we had where I grew up in Michigan was like 25 miles away, and had been abandoned for about 2 decades.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, you want to talk about good science fiction from those days? Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so much of that movie. There's not even any none of the humans even speak, and it is fantastic.
Oh, Mad Metal, man. I honestly do think The Return of the Jedi was just to try and cash in on a good thing, to be totally fair.
Yeah, and to sell teddy bears with spears.
Because that's just what you need is your child impaling itself while it sleeps.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, at least I got to give George Lucas credit for the prequel trilogy in as far as he at least tried to do something different. These last few entries into the franchise, they're not trying anything different at all. And it just makes it all very boring. I mean, look at The Force Awakens. Oh yeah, big round super weapon what shoots laser beam. Okay. I don't care that it shot 5 planets at once. In different I don't know how all 5 of these planets were in the one solar system and maintained their orbits in the habitable zone. Jesus, J.J. Abrams is a moron. God, that's primary school stuff.
Either J.J. Abrams is a moron or J.J. Abrams is an arrogant fucker who thinks the rest of us are morons.
Yeah. Well, no, Mad Metal, man, I agree. I don't care for the continuation of Star Wars. I think after Return of the Jedi being the shameless cash grab that it was, it should have just stopped. Again, Alderaan was asking for it. Alderaanian lives matter. But I agree with the lens flare statement there, Madman. Oh my God, we were talking about this the other day, like I said before, and one of the other things that came up about movies that should be left alone because they were done right the first time, and the movie we were talking about was The Last Starfighter.
Oh, there's several others I can think of as well.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we were talking about that one specifically at that time, is all I'm saying. But there are a lot of movies that were just done right. RoboCop, that was done right the first time.
Oh, the first RoboCop was brilliantly done.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. But no, let's remake a successful movie. No, bullshit. You don't remake a successful movie.
Even back then, the original sequels to RoboCop, they just screwed it. It didn't have the magic. It was kind of the same with one of my favorite films of all time, which was Never-Ending Story. I mean, Never-Ending Story has its problem, like that kid that you want to punch who's living up in an attic of a school and no alarm systems or anything to alert the authorities. But
right.
Bastion or whatever the hell his name was. But the movie, the part of the movie that didn't involve him was brilliant. But then they made Never-Ending Story 2.
Yeah, The Matrix didn't need sequels. Blade Runner should not have been remade.
Oddly enough, the guy...
Oh, that wasn't remade, it was sequeled.
The kid who played Atreyu in the Never-Ending Stories actually showed up on Star Trek Voyager, if I recall.
Huh. Here's the thing that bothers me. I never saw Never-Ending Story, okay? But here's what bothers me about Never-Ending Story. If it's a never-ending story, why does it need sequels?
And if anything, why did they name the sequels what they did? They should have called them The Continuing Never-Ending Story. That would have been clever and actually got people to think.
Lopez, hey, Ronan.
Moosecow.
And it should have been a never-ending story. The quest for more money, or something. Give it. You don't put a 2 on it because then it's like, what? So now there's 2 never-ending stories. Oh wait, we have a 3rd.
Well, it just makes it. Yeah, there was a Never-Ending Story 3. I think that went straight to DVD as it went.
It probably did. I mean, there's a point in the franchise where you're just going, okay.
I mean, we
can make this money on a shit budget, but we can't release it in the theaters.
The asshole in me sees something like the Never-Ending Story 2, which immediately makes me think, well, then the original Neverending Story was false advertising because it did in fact end. So now they've started another supposedly never-ending story.
Yeah, see, the title, The Never-Ending Story, is a good way to put a roadblock in front of you. You know, it's either got to be one movie or you need to change the title. Well, see, okay, starring Jack Black. That's I'm not watching anything starring Jack Black. Jack Black is a one-trick pony. He might as well be in on the writing of the Star Wars stuff at this point. I don't like the one-trick pony. No, I haven't seen Neverending Story, Butterfly, and there's a reason for it. I want to call you Butterfly and not Kitten. Don't ask me why. But my point, you don't remake a successful movie. I mean, yeah, you know, that I understand the cash grab. I understand that, you know, there's a business that has to continually have an influx of revenue so that it can keep going. But what's the point if you're in an artistic business and you don't take some artistic chances?
The only one that I think there may be an argument for the remaking of it may have been Tron.
Well, again, that was a sequel.
Because Tron at the time that it was made was really cutting edge, but the graphics and the special effects are terribly dated now. So
well, yeah, same thing with Last Starfighter, and don't remake it. You know, I mean, shit, you go back and watch the original Tron, that's still kind of cool.
Oh, visually. It's still a great story, and it's still cool visually.
Plus, good villain, good guy to play the villain. Not Troy, Tron.
Who said Troy?
It wasn't a remake. The last thing they did with Tron was not a remake. It was a sequel. Oh, God. Yeah, the Black Hole set for a remake. That's all we need. But you know what? That actually, in a weird way, makes sense to me. Because that was kind of a shitty movie. So, yeah, remake it.
Yeah, I've got no problem with movies that had a good premise but bombed because of either poorly made or just poorly promoted or whatever.
Nope, no kitten. Tron was sequeled in 2010. It wasn't remade. Jesus Christ, this is going to kill me about this whole remake sequel difference.
Your trigger is OCD, and by OCD I mean obstinate cunt disorder.
That's me. It's flipping my fucking switches, and everyone knows the rule: don't flip the Mitch switch. The Mitch switch sticks. Holy shit! Well, not everyone apparently, because here we are.
Oh,
thank you, Mariel.
I would never have seen. I'm not into interracial.
Mad Metal Man, what about reimaginings? Well, see, the first time I heard that phrase was with Battlestar Galactica, and I was not impressed. In fact, I never watched that reimagining. I got like half an hour in, and I'm like, okay, this is boring as fuck.
That's the thing, though. If it was successful the first time around, it does not need to be reimagined. They did a pretty damn good job the first time.
Well, that's just it. Battlestar Galactica was not successful the first time around. It lasted a year. And then they did, oh my God, do you remember Galactica 1980? The shit sequel spin-off series?
I vaguely remember things about it, but I never saw it.
Okay, this was terrible. This was supposed to be like 20 years later. No Apollo, no Starbuck, none of the original cast except Lauren Green. Then they had the genius kid with an IQ of 1 million, Dr. Z. You know, with you know, the blonde hair and the glasses, the bowl cut, that kid. And Dr. Z, Lauren Green with a beard now. Oh God, it was terrible. And it started off, it had Barry Van Dyke and Kent McCord in the Starbuck Apollo roles. And And everything was fine until the show started to be about these super kids, kids with born in space and had these stupid, because they're born in space, powers. And every episode was, what can the kids do? And it had these two soldiers from the Galactica as de facto guardians, and oh my god, how stupid can you get? But initially, it was kind of a good premise. They find Earth, and now they find that Earth is not as technologically advanced, so there's that gap that has to be closed somehow without fucking Earth up. And a lot of good ideas initially with Galactica 1980, and then someone in a suit at an oversized conference table made a decision, and the Star Children, yes, Table Coon, thank you. And someone in a suit at an oversized conference table just took that idea and rammed it straight into the ground head first. It was fucking dumb. I mean, I had the Halloween episode with Wolfman Jack because it's not the 70s and early 80s without a guest appearance by Wolfman Jack. Half of the people in our chat probably won't even recognize the name Wolfman Jack. He was a radio DJ who became. He was, in his time, he was as popular as Howard Stern.
I never heard him, but I do vaguely remember him.
He had that voice, the Wolfman Jack. He had that kind of a voice thing going on. Space Odyssey 2001. I don't know what that is. Are you talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey? Oh, we're talking about Battlestar Galactica, Mariel.
Back to the Battlestar Galactica thing. Do you know what it actually... Now that I think about it, it was actually Star Trek The Next Generation, but didn't work. Basically taking an old... To say the original Star Trek series was a failed series is somewhat fair. Because I think they intended it to run for a lot longer than they did. But then reimagine it with a new cast, and it became Star Trek The Next Generation. I think that might have been what they were trying to do with Battlestar Galactica.
Well, yeah, but they used all the exact same characters.
Just with different actors.
That's
where they probably screwed up.
Yes, American Graffiti should not be remade. This is my stance on remaking movies, essentially. If the movie is successful, leave it alone. If it failed, let's take and it's a good movie and it failed, okay, remake it. I may not be totally on board, but okay, remake it. If it's a bad movie and it failed, definitely remake it. Like Plan 9 from Outer Space, the worst movie ever made, apparently. That movie failed on every level, but don't remake it. Because it's very unique in its failure. In that it's so bad, it's watchable. Like The Room. That's another one. That movie is so bad, it's watchable.
Just a quick question for anybody who's listening. Have I got an echo going on? Because I'm trying to figure out how many audio sources I'm using at the moment, whether I need to mute my Discord, whether I need to mute my live stream or not.
Hey, Zero Unknown's with us too. How you doing, Zero?
We are still having the occasional teething issue. It happens.
What? Teething? This is getting weird, man.
Well, yeah, because, you see, I'm not sure whether the overlay that I'm using that puts the little icons up in the middle of the screen, whether that is actually broadcasting my audio as well, like it's being, in essence, a virtual third user, or if my audio is coming through from a broadcaster and Discord is ignoring it.
Middleman says you have a bit of an echo from time to time, but it's not consistent.
Okay, then let's try.
We'll find out. Oh, he says it's subtle when it does happen too. Mark? Let's see, Table Coon. Great.
It might just be general room echo then.
It could be, yeah. Tablecoon says that Mars Needs Women could do with the remake, as well as the Earth versus the Spider. And that reminds me, because these were like B movies.
Hey, I'm all for equality. Does Venus need men?
Yeah, really. Wow. That just stopped me in my tracks. Stopped me in my Moosecow tracks. Now, what was it? There's a thing about B movies that is a really fascinating thing. And it was the actor, producer, director, Hollywood guy, Bruce Campbell, of all people, who pointed it out. And Bruce Campbell is well known for doing B movies. And he was on one of the late night talk shows when Spider-Man, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man, came out. And because he had a bit part in it, because him and Sam Raimi go all the way back in their careers together. And someone had asked him, what's it like going from a B movie to a giant Hollywood blockbuster? And Bruce Campbell correctly points out that if you're in a movie where your main character is bitten by a radioactive spider and gets superpowers, you're in a B movie. The budget doesn't enter into it. And he's right.
It's not wrong.
All of these superhero movies we're seeing, they're all B movies.
Oh, Tablecon, you've got Sky Broadband. Go with a Virgin and talk. They're better.
Okay, so I'm hoping I'm coming through fine on a Arrowverse channel.
I think it's got to do with their internet service provider more than anything.
Ah.
Did they not go through a period where they started to remake a load of the Hammer horrors?
I'm not sure. Kind of. I mean, I know it doesn't count, but they started remaking some of George Romero's stuff with The Living Dead.
Yeah.
But and it, when they did Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Was it Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead? I think it was Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. And that one was actually rather successful, and I'm kind of wondering why they never went and further with those sequels.
Yes, BT is shite. I'll agree with you there. So I'm just having a bitch-a-thon about ISP providers in the UK with Tablecon.
Oh, it sounds like, from what you guys are saying, it sounds like it's the UK version of Frontier Communications. Frontier Communications. Yesterday's technology, tomorrow's prices. See, that's just it. George Romero's movies, they remade the one and it was huge. In fact, I think that was the first entry in, or at least if not the first, then one of the first entries that really got the zombie genre rolling again. And yet they haven't remade another of Romero's films. I wonder why that. There's got to be. I bet they wanted to, and there's some dealings behind the scenes where they couldn't get the rights or something.
Probably. Now that you mentioned the whole zombie thing, though, that actually annoyed the snot out of me, because the occasional zombie film, yeah, great. But then it got to be like where we had what must have been 10 or 12 over the space of 2 years, and it was like, okay, I'm so over this now.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you got The Walking Dead on A&E for one thing.
Yeah.
That's been running for 7 or 8 years now. You've got, it seems like you've got a bunch, and you can catch them on YouTube, and a lot of them are shit, but some are surprisingly pretty good. A bunch of like independent type zombie films. And then there's the zombie genre has kind of gotten to the point where it's like, okay, well, this time we can, well, yeah, it's like they're going to be sitting in at that oversized conference table again and saying, okay, what about zombies on a train? Okay, what about zombies on a cruise ship? What about zombies on an island? What about zombies on a space station? What about zombies on an asteroid?
It kind of got to the point where it seemed like a zombie bandwagon. As soon as something bandwagons, I immediately lose interest.
Well, let's face it, there's only so much you can do with the zombies. And there's going to be a couple of people out there. Yeah, but you got the fast zombies, you got the ambling zombies, you got the zombies with microwave ovens, you got the zombies that are
Micro-zombies.
that are ready for high-speed internet connections. I mean, yeah, we've got all the different zombies. I don't care what kind of fucking attachments you put on the zombie. It's a zombie. In the end, it's a zombie movie.
I don't mind a zombie thing if they take a completely different take on it. There's currently a series that's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's a Netflix original, but I may be wrong, and it's called iZombie. But it's not about shambling around and eating brains. Well, it is about eating brains, but it's not about shambling around and taking over the world like most zombie flicks seem to be. They've come at it from a completely different angle, and it's actually quite brilliant.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to look into it since you've mentioned that. It's quite brilliant. But yeah, there's a Nazi zombie film, for Christ's sake. Thanks, Mariel. I knew there was something I missed in that litany of different things to do with zombies. I mean, shit, they even have one. Lopez. They even have, hey, fuckwad, how you doing? They've even got fucking zombie movies where zombies are fucking trained to be house servants, for fuck's sake. I mean, what else are we doing with zombies? I mean, oh, we could these could be the zombies that invented Bitcoin. Oh, fuck. These are the zombies that do the cryptocurrency. These are the zombies that find the Loch Ness monster. Fuck, stop it.
Warm Bodies. I remember the show title, but I never saw it, so I couldn't really comment. The table couldn't have said over
incidentally,
in my chat.
iZombie is actually produced by the television network that does the DC TV shows. But in the UK, I bet it's only available on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it is, to be totally honest. Like a lot of things in the UK, if it isn't on Netflix, we just don't get it. Unfortunately, The Orville was never available on Netflix, or at least probably won't be for another year.
Yeah, God, that is a good show. See, there you go. That's the kind of show where it is very much a remake of a Star Trek: The Next Generation, but they're not calling it Star Trek: The Next Generation. They're not
even pretending it's in the same universe.
Right. They're just saying, okay, this is our take on this genre, and that's fine. You want to know one reason it's fine? It's because there's not 58 other shows going, okay, this is the Enterprise with a captain with hair. This is an Enterprise with a captain with blue skin. This is an Enterprise with a captain with 4 arms. I mean, all the captains have 4 arms, but not all of them have 4 arms. Bad example. Okay. That fucked me up in the head. Holy shit.
Today's brain melt day here on Lopez and Moosecow.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
We are all aiming to be the cheesy center of a nice panini.
We're going to go down that road again. Okay.
Don't we always?
The cheesy center of a nice panini jam.
I don't think Panini Chan's in. No, sadly not.
Okay, Mariel, I'll tell you why the USS Enterprise is so special. Because of William Shatner. Because it was the name that got on TV first. That's it. Yeah, I'm glad I beat you to it, fuckwad. That's the only reason the name Enterprise is so special.
Oh God, I'm reading 2 separate chats here at the same time, and I've got fuckwad saying you beat me to the forearm joke, and Tablecun saying pink skins, and my brain just combined them both into foreskins.
Oh, great. It's just another way this whole thing can go sideways. On a dime.
I'm sure there's a joke in there, but it just isn't coming to me.
Well, let's count. Let us count the on camera ships named Enterprise. The original series. That, and by the way, that originally was going to be the Yorktown, but they changed Enterprise.
Yeah.
Next Generation, and in the Next Generation, they also had the Enterprise C.
So that's 2 for there.
Which is, yeah. The main Enterprise on the Next Generation was the Enterprise D. And then there's the Enterprise E in the movies, and in the show Star Trek Enterprise, it was the NX-01 Enterprise, which they quite wrongly refer to as the NX class. That's not how that works. The NX stands for Naval Experimental.
Then you've also got...
The ship is basically an experiment. Then you've got the Enterprise J, which was on Star Trek Enterprise
J,
then in the 29th century.
You've got the B that showed up in Generations.
Yep. They basically...
You've got the naval carrier, which showed up in Star Trek 4.
4, yep. The nuclear vessel.
So that's 8 iterations just on...
Yeah, just on film. And it's seriously, the name Enterprise at this point is more akin to a running joke than anything else. I mean, I'm not saying they treat it as a joke or anything like that, but it has a lot of the characteristics of a running joke.
It kind of does, really. It's just sort of... I mean, I'm pretty sure that when Gene Roddenberry first started with the original series, he never expected it to be more than 5 years of TV, and then maybe some people off in odd corners of the world would still remember it.
Right. I mean, because that's all it had to be back in those days. 5 years of TV, we'll call it good. If it gets picked up for another year, okay. But it didn't. And oh well. But that's it. You know, this is why J.J. Abrams' Star Trek should not have been made. HMS, fuck my spelling.
I'm actually going to try to read this as written. The Enterprise is more famously known as the HMSD Enterprise. So is the Endeavour, Difent, Constellation. I'm not sure whether that's molestation combined with colostomy or what. I really don't know. And the Yorktown.
HMS, fuck my spelling. Oh, coffee is good. Yeah. That's the only reason Enterprise.
Sorry, Taylor, that just struck me as amusing.
Oh no!
But you got Lopez in my Moosecow.
Two great tastes that taste great together. I mean, the way you said that, fuck what, it almost sounds like it's the beginning of a gay joke. Considering we're both men and Lopez and Moosecow. But let everyone else figure that out.
That sounds like what happens when you get a Canadian and a Mexican that meet together in the middle of America.
Yeah. Oh God. No, I'm not going to do it. It's a terrible joke. I'm not going to do it.
The terrible ones are the best ones, though.
No, this one's terrible as it's bad, and it won't come off as even a bad joke that's kind of funny.
I.e., the premise of the joke is bad, not the joke itself.
Yes.
Right. I never got into Blake 7 as it goes, Tablecom. Have you ever seen that, Mitch? Blake 7?
What? Yes, I have. Interesting show, actually. But once they lost Blake, it's like it lost a bit of steam, and then what was God, I can't remember the other guy's name that became the lead. The guy who was a bit of a dick.
Yeah, for some reason I want to say Nova, but it wasn't
Avon.
Nova. Avon. Close enough. It was the same letters, just the other jumbled up.
Yeah. In fact, spelled backwards. It was, yeah, Avon. He was I can't remember the actor's name, but I keep swearing that I've seen that actor before in something else. And then I looked him up on Internet Movie Database, and I didn't recognize anything he'd been in.
I'm sure he's been in episodes of Doctor Who around Tom Baker's or John Pertwee's era as well.
Oh, probably. But
most British actors do show up in Doctor Who somewhere.
Blake Seven was actually a really good premise for a show, and then the main actor quit, from my understanding, and they just kind of went, okay, we'll do something else then, but we'll still call it Blake Seven, because by God.
So a buddy of mine in LA said there's talks of a possible live-action Thundercats. Any thoughts on that? Yes, it's already been done. It was called Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber. There just wasn't a sword in it. No. Thundercats was a product of its time. I really don't think it'd work now.
Yeah, it's akin to making a Battleship movie based on the board game. And they did.
God, that would be the worst movie ever.
No, they did make that movie. They made a Battleship movie based on the board game.
Please tell me they had the line that is in every single commercial for Battleship that was ever released.
My Battleship?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was in there. But I never saw it because I'm like, okay, you cannot take this game and translate it to a movie. What they did...
It's like turning Guess Who into a movie. Does your main character have a mustache?
Yeah. It's like taking Connect 4. We're going to make a movie out of Connect 4. What? Yes, it'll be a big, bright machine with a bunch of lights and 4 lady Ghostbusters. No, fuck you. Don't make that movie. But yeah, they fought aliens in Battleship for reasons. No. Stupid premise, stupid idea. But yeah, Thundercats, very much a product of its time, and I don't think it would, unless it was done really, really well, and I don't mean big budget well, I mean just do the fucking movie right, and it might be good. And honestly, I think if you're going to make a movie from a property from that era, and you're going to do it in the Western culture, Western hemisphere, I guess, do a Westernized version of Space Battleship Yamato. What most of us would probably call Star Blazers.
I don't recall ever having seen that.
Oh my God, that was an anime from the 70s, I believe, and it's really quite good.
Oh, so that was back at the point where I was still watching like the Smurfs and stuff like that.
Oh God. Yeah, and they made a movie of the fucking Smurfs. I mean, in Japan, they recently made a Space Battleship Yamato. I think in the last 5 years or so. And I watched it, and it's quite good. The acting, not the acting, but the visually, it's fucking beautiful. I don't speak a lick of the language, so the first time I watched it was without subtitles, and I just fucking watched it, and I was happy with most of it. I did not like what they did with the main antagonist, because they made them completely different than what they're supposed to be, and that drives me crazy. Yeah, actually, what Table Coon says, make Thundar the Barbarian a movie. That would actually be pretty cool.
I do vaguely remember it.
Yeah, Thundar the Barbarian with the sun sword that he kept. He kept the. It was basically a lightsaber.
Yeah, you see, the thing was when I was growing up, generally most people had access to NBC, CBS, and ABC, and PBS.
Yes.
We could get NBC came through clear as a bell. CBS was a bit fuzzy. ABC, it was only when the sky was clear that we could get that. And PBS, we kind of forgot existed, except for every now and again.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if it was on like ABC, I never saw it.
And really, the only thing I remember from PBS back then, there's just one thing I remember from it, and that's Doctor Who.
To be honest, the only things I remember from PBS was they had Sesame Street, they had the Electric Company with their very
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
with their very odd version of Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
What else?
Spider-Man, where are you coming from, Spider-Man?
Nobody knows who you are.
Meanwhile, everyone watching it knows that it's fucking Peter Parker.
and then you get these really weird shows. That I remember watching. It was an art show, and there was the main artist who used to draw unibears and teach you how to draw things in perspective. And he had a robot that was made out of 2 cardboard boxes, and you know them flexible tubes that you put in the back of a dryer so you can thread it through out the window. And he was made of them, and I used to love that show because he had a great big board that he's over the course of the series he filled the whole thing with a fantasy scene and showed you how to draw all of it. So I had like 4 sheets of wallpaper on the wall that were sideways, and I was doing my own, and it was great.
Metal Man properly points out that I should have thrown out a spoiler alert for that Spider-Man spoiler that it's actually Peter Parker.
If you need a spoiler for that, how the hell have you managed to figure out how to work the internet?
Look,
that's all I can say.
You want to know how prolific classic Spider-Man is?
By the way, Superman is also Clark Kent. Shh.
Fucking Mennonites know who Spider-Man is. Okay? That's how prolific Spider-Man is. For fuck's sake. Oh man, it's actually I think Thundar the Barbarian. If they're gonna go with a cartoon from that era, I think Thundar the Barbarian would be great. I mean, let's look at what it is. It's a knockoff. Thundar the Barbarian is in every way a knockoff. It's a knockoff of everything. You've got Luke Skywalker, the blonde hero with a laser sword, basically.
Yeah.
You've also got Chewbacca in the form of Ookla the Mock, but it's also very Conan the Barbarian because Thundar was a barbarian. And then you got that whole sorceress thing. And why is it the female characters in that era who use magic were just named sorceress? Couldn't they be called Jenny? Kathy? Oh, look, it's Kathy the Sorceress. But anyway. But, you know, that was Thundar the Barbarian was actually some pretty interesting science fiction. Because, you know, the comet had gone between Earth and the moon. It shifted the moon's orbit. And the tidal stresses on the moon caused it to crack.
Yeah.
Or split in half. And it completely fucked Earth up. And, you know, centuries later, you know, there's still a lot of the remnants of what would be modern Earth. And I remember one time they went to visit the island of Manhattan, which was actually Manhattan. You know, just stuff like that. Yeah. It would be cool to see a movie like that, where you got the witchetty woman. Princess Ariel was her name. Correct, Table Coon. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Princess Ariel.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you might have been getting a bit confused there with He-Man.
Very much so.
But even the sorceress in He-Man actually had a name. I think it was only ever mentioned once in the show, though.
Featherhead.
Bird brain.
Winged bitch, what rules a castle? I don't remember. But shit, Thundar the Barbarian, you could really do a whole hell of a lot of stuff with, because in many ways it was good science fiction. But you want to know a kid's show from the 70s that was absolutely brilliant science fiction was Land of the Lost. The first 2 seasons of Land of the Lost, not the third one.
No, Evelyn was the head bad guy for.
Yeah, she was.
No, it wasn't the head bad guy. She was the female in Skeletor's armies. I was thinking of She-Ra, which was a completely different bad villain.
What was her name? Princess Allura or something. I don't recall.
No, Princess Allura was She-Ra, but there was the female villain, which was basically the
Evelyn. Yeah. Yeah, Evil Lynn was one of Skeletor's lieutenants, basically.
Yeah, and then She-Ra had her own female villain.
Now, you remember Land of the Lost from the 70s with the $2 stop motion dinosaurs? And,
Now you
Will and
mention it,
Holly
I think I do.
and the cave and Sleestacks. I was so pissed off at the movie they made based on that with fucking Will Ferrell. Oh, God, that was stupid.
But then again,
Because that,
I think I preferred not to watch that show because I do recall there was quite a lot of the old Godzilla movies being played at the same time, and I preferred those.
white-faced creepy guy from Land of the Lost, Metal Man? Because I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been Enoch. There was Enoch, who was a brown Sleestack, an Altrusian, actually. I actually know a lot of the lore because I've gone back and rewatched it in the last couple of years. Oh, Hordak.
Yeah,
You're thinking of Hordak.
Hordak.
The Hordak is actually where I get the name for that particular type of human. I refer to them as the Hordakian Armada. These are the overweight people who frequent a buffet with their children, and it seems like they're just trying to fatten their kids up so they can eat their kids later. But that's a different thing. Now, Land of the Lost was actually really good science fiction. You can catch a bunch of it on YouTube, if you want. I would recommend going back and rewatching some of it. Some of them are just, I mean, it's a kid's show, okay? But there's a lot of stuff they did with lore in that show. Things that they would find out a little bit at a time as the show progressed. Like the Land of the Lost was actually a closed universe separate from our own, where things would basically fall in and out. It was like the Land of the Lost was a closed universe that seemed to be the result of a very high-tech culture where all the technology had begun to break down. And they even went into exploring some of that culture and some of that culture's technology too, because some of it was still functional. It was all based on the crystal matrix table thing in the pylons and all that. It was, I mean, that show had such a fantastic groundwork for some really good stuff, and every time they've tried to do a revival, they've just pissed on the whole concept. They pissed on the higher concept stuff.
There was quite a few shows in the 80s that they got one season runs, but the premise of them was absolutely amazing. It's just that there was a show called Voyager.
Yeah, John Eric Hexum and that fucking kid from the Ronnie James Dio video.
Yeah, that was an amazing show. And then there was Automan and Manimal. Which,
Manimal with oh god, what's that actor's name? He pops up in something every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, it's that fucking dude.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
McCormick? Is his name McCormick?
I honestly don't remember. I just remember it being on and thinking, cool, this is cool. But that was at the point where it was like, I didn't identify people as their actual name. It was like, oh, that's BA from the A-Team, or oh, that's
Simon McCorkindale. That's his name. But yeah, there really were. There were a bunch of these like one-season shows that had a really good, strong science fiction premise. And I'm not talking about garbage like Street Hawk, where it looked like someone said, hey, Knight Rider's pretty cool. Let's do the same thing with a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then some moron gave that funding.
Oh god, yeah, I remember the Knight Rider motorcycle thing.
But yeah, there were a bunch of those shows where the premise was so good and the execution was very lacking. But I think those shows were a little bit ahead of their time, because you don't take a concept like Automan, where the guy basically develops a computer program and uses some other technology to make this artificial intelligence not come to life, but to become a physical being.
Yeah.
A physical. It was able to create a physical representation of the AI, and this thing was able to form physical representations of vehicles and stuff. And they, like every show from the time, they basically went out and fought crime.
Yeah.
And no one could know that I can have this guy who just shows up and and makes a car, and stuff like that. Because I mean, part of the problem with those shows was that the villains were always just stupid. It was just stupid, boring villains.
Very cookie cutter villains.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it was
I mean,
always,
I think
and the other big thing from all those shows from the 80s is they always had the episode that went back to the Vietnam War, and they always had the episodes that dealt with nuclear weapons, and the episodes that dealt with the help me out here, the communist Russia.
Yeah.
They all had those same episodes, and it's almost like, okay, let's take the nuclear bomb episode from Wonder Woman and put it into the A-Team. And then someone said, let's take the nuclear bomb episode of the A-Team and put it in Street Hawk. And then someone said, let's take the nuclear bomb episode from Street Hawk and put it in Automan. It's like, oh, fuck me.
The thing was, though, is those were very much social commentaries of the time, though. I mean, at the time that all that stuff was out, everybody was terrified of nuclear destruction.
Well, yeah.
And of course, Vietnam's still very fresh in the memory.
Yes. Well, yeah, I understand that, but it was... It's one thing when it's a show like the A-Team. Okay, here's a bunch of guys with machine guns, former military, who can't hit anything. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Send those guys out to do that shit with the Russians. With the A-bomb, with the what was the other one? Whatever it was, doesn't matter. But yeah, send that show should be dealing with that stuff.
Yeah.
Not fucking Street, not Automan, not Manimal. Those guys got to be put to use for something a little more fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't. Airwolf was more like Knight Rider with a helicopter than the A-Team.
Yeah, there was Airwolf and Blue Thunder. I've got my hard consonants mixed up there. Airwolf and Blue Thunder.
Yes, their plans always came together. The A-Team's plans always came together, especially. But yeah, send the A-Team out to do that stuff. It makes more sense considering their background and whatnot. But then you got Nick and Cody from fucking Riptide. That was a fun show.
Oh, I like that show.
Theme. And those guys should have been. Those guys were private detectives.
Yeah.
They should have been doing the private detective thing. There should never have been anything to do with Moosecow. Moosecow.
Moosecow.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of those shows had fucking really good music. Music that was appropriate to the show and everything. Then I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know if it started with that show Felicity or The Heights or some of these other fucking goofy ass teen shows that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s, where the music all became whiny and like it became like the soft porn version of good music. They stopped using orchestrations.
Because once you get to the 90s, television theme tunes are very, very bland. It's only when you get something like the theme tune from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or something like that it actually stands out and is memorable.
Right.
I mean, how many of you can actually remember the theme tune from something like Saved by the Bell?
I don't.
The cheesy, gooey scented one has arrived.
Yeah, MacGyver had great music. The A-Team had great music. Fucking all those shows did. But then you get, and I'll give you my best example of and it reflects it does in fact reflect the character of both of these shows. Okay, 70s Wonder Woman.
Oh God!
All right,
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that was a fantastic theme show for that show.
Yeah.
You know, it had that bass line and open with Wonder Woman. Now the world is ready for you and the powers you possess. I mean, it was upbeat. It was, you know, you knew there was some action coming on. Wonder Woman just spin around a circle, bright lights, boobies, and the thing, and fucking Wonder Woman's going to run, chase down, pull up the car, and throw the thing through the air and catch the missile and punch the guy in the dick. And fucking Wonder Woman is exciting, you know. And then you get
and indulge in some light BDSM to get him to tell the truth.
Yeah, and later on, what did we get? Smallville. Fuck you, buddy. Die. I don't want to save you. I want to watch you get burned alive. That theme song fucking sucked ass. And it kind of set the pace for that show, didn't it? Because that show was nothing but a bunch of fucking high school drama with superpowers. Fuck that show, man.
I'm honestly wondering whether Dawson's Creek kind of set that trend.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going toward. I couldn't remember the name of the show though. But it's that Dawson's Creek type of show that it's like let's do Dawson Creek, but with Clark Kent, and he doesn't wear the glasses, and we can't have him fly, and don't put him in that fucking cape. Too faggy. You know, God, it's just annoying. That whiny fucking self-involved narcissist fucking music. Just it really did fit that show.
Oh.
Meanwhile, over here, back in the 70s, you got the Incredible Hulk do on the piano thing, you know. Dr. David Banner, physician, scientist. You know,
the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk was amazing because it didn't have the same theme tune at the end. It was just the lonely piano music as he walked away down the street.
Oh, I know, and it was brilliant,
amazingly done.
Yes, I mean it conveyed all the emotion.
Yeah,
that the character contained.
Look, I can do great things. Look, I can save you all, but I'll still be lonely as fuck.
Well, no, that's what the intro's for.
Yeah.
Dr. Banner is believed to be dead, and he must let the world think that he is dead until he can find a way to control the raging spirit within him. Yeah, fucking, I love Ted Cassidy, by the way. That dude's voice. That's the guy who played Lurch in the Addams Family.
Yeah.
His voice is fucking incredible. And, you know, fucking, what else did they have back then?
Chips.
Oh, God.
I used to love that show.
Let's not. No, I, yeah, as a kid, sure, but I'm sorry, Chips was
trash.
Either a show for kids, or it was adults catering to retards.
The thing about Chips is, I was a kid when I was watching it growing up, and your average BMX bike, you can quite easily pretend that's a motorcycle, and you could pretend you're one of the cops catching bad guys, and it was brilliant for that.
You know, you're going down the street on your BMX. You know, maybe you're going to hit you're going to hit a candy store or something when they used to actually have candy stores in more places.
Yeah.
And you'd be going down the road going da 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 da. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and the show had that level of excitement that was conveyed in the music.
Yeah.
You know, it was all upbeat and Punch and John, and we're going to go solve all these crimes, and we're never going to pull our guns because we're anti-gun in the show. But by God, at the end of every episode, we're going to be in a hang glider, dune buggy, parachute, some fucking thing, water skiing, jet skiing. We're going to be on every episode, different fucking thing. It's like, how much fucking money are these guys making when they can afford all this equipment? Holy shit, I want to be a cop.
Yeah. The only show that I can think of that goes against this rule, but the theme tune still really, really worked. Dukes of Hazzards.
Yes. Again, the music sets the tone for the show. And I think it's true of almost every show, because look at Smallville. It really is, as Fuckwad said, 90210 with DC characters.
Yeah.
then you get to like what Mario Bell mentioned, $6 Million Man, with that fucking beepity beep beep thing, you know. And Flightcom, I can't hold her. She's breaking up. Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Sorry, I stepped into Shatner there for a second. But again, that and brilliant too, because they fucking flip shit on you, man. In the $6 Million Man, they turn shit upside down and sideways. You know, this $6 Million Man has bionic legs to do fucking runs, and he runs really fast, but they do it in slow motion.
Now that you mention it, I'm actually trying to remember the T.J. Hooker theme song. You brought Shatner into it, and it just took my brain off sideways.
I always thought it'd be funny if in some iteration of Star Trek it was revealed that one of his ancestors was a cop. I always thought that would have been funny, but that's a different thing.
I'm not even sure that the easy way of explaining that away would... Because you got T.J. Hooker and you've got Mission Impossible. One with Shatner, one with Nimoy. You just explained that as the Enterprise had gone back in time and was stuck there for a few years.
But
they had to find something to do.
In the 70s and 80s. But,
so Captain Kirk became a cop and Nimoy became whatever his character's name was in Mission Impossible.
Some kind of a spy.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, the shows were... The $6 Million Man, again, a really good hunk of science fiction. They didn't just have him going up against Lefty and the Boss like they did with Automan, Street Hawk, and fucking Manimal.
Fuck what? Interesting fact. The Dodge Chargers from that era are very, very rare because they destroyed hundreds of the things filming that show. Because every time they did a jump, it would always land engine first, the chassis would be bent, and the car was useless.
Yep. God, must have gone through a fucking fortune in fucking spray paint to have so many General Lees.
Yeah.
See, the $6 Million Man too really covered some interesting sci-fi concepts. And sometimes it was the Russians, sometimes it was the A-bomb, but then you had the bionic Bigfoot, you know, that initially played by Andre the Giant. That was fucking cool, man. The chick with the wrist thing with the switch that you buy at Radio Shack to replace a switch in your home, but she time-lapse thingy, and she seemingly moves faster than anyone else, but no, she just freezes time and goes over there. And then, you know, you had the space probe one, where the space probe was malfunctioning. It was supposed to get stuff on another planet and was made of super dense metal that was also, like, you know, something like a couple of orders of magnitude better than titanium. And then the $6 Million Man with the one bionic arm kit had to arm wrestle it and beat it, you know. And then you had Space Probe 2. Oh, no, it was called the Death Probe. That's what it was. The title was Death Probe, and then Death Probe 2. You know, when they did another version of the Death Probe. You know, it's interesting science fiction concepts. You know, here's a probe that's supposed to, you know, it's like a Schwarzenegger version of our Mars rover, basically, with arms that come out of it with spinning blades and a laser ray and all that shit. And, you know, the Bionic Man has to go stop it because no one can find the fucking off switch or the remote control. You know?
So some of this stuff was built on the most ridiculously silly of premises, but they made it work, and it was just fun. Fun to watch. It didn't have to make sense some of the time either.
I got this to say about the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman, the fucking fembots. Okay? Fucking androids that were designed to look and act like a specific person. It's just fucking brilliant.
There's a video of that on my channel, by the way. Just quick plug for myself.
On the fembots?
Yeah. Do you not remember that video I did where I was interviewing one of them? There was always my mind, so like, if the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman got married, would they have a robot baby? I used to wonder that when I was a kid.
I don't. The thing that bothers me about the Bionic Woman is she wasn't a special agent. She wasn't an operative. She wasn't a ghost spook or any of those things associated with the CIA. She wasn't even military.
She was a soccer mom that
She
caught
was
shoplifters.
no. She was a fucking school teacher who had a parachuting accident. You know, and the only reason she got bionic replacements is because she used to fuck Steve Austin. You know, come on. I didn't like her premise as much, but the interesting thing there was that those shows eventually ran on separate networks, and Richard Anderson, the actor who played Oscar Goldman, basically worked for both of those networks at the same time,
which was pretty much unheard of.
Yeah, it was very much unheard of at the time.
Yeah.
But they cared about continuity then too. You know.
Oh, and then the $6 Million Man finished, and then a couple of years later, The Fall Guy began.
Oh God!
Which the best thing about that show was the only good thing about that show was the theme tune.
I barely remember it. I remember the line, "I'm the unknown stuntman."
I might jump from a tall building. I might roll a brand new car. 'Cause I'm the unknown stuntman. The bass would look so fine.
You know, speaking of Lee Majors, he was only in one episode of this show. It was a show that was on a while ago. Again, this show had, for the first season, the show ran 2 seasons. It was Human Target with I can't remember the main actor's name. Character's name was Christopher Chance. It was a DC character that they heavily modified to do this show. Basically, he was like a for-hire bodyguard who was like a former hitman, and he had some buddies that were former hitmen that worked with him, and one San Francisco cop who wound up working with him.
Mm.
They started their own company to basically do executive protection, and brilliant theme music. The first season. This show came out in the last 10 years actually, and it was like a return to the Guy show. Okay, it was like a show that was aimed very much at men. It was that kind of an action show, sort of a callback to the 80s, but there was it had a very masculine element to it. Not to say that it was sexist, it was just masculine. You know, and had great humor, and who was like it played Freddy Krueger, played Rorschach, Jackie Earle Haley.
Oh, right.
No, Jackie Earle Haley played a character called Guerrero, who someone you absolutely did not in any way want to fuck with, because he would fuck your shit up, but he was so mellow and laid back.
The gentle giant character.
Well, except he's not a giant.
No, but
he's got a reputation that quite thoroughly precedes him, though. And once you know who he is, you take a step back.
Yeah.
You know, in every sense of the phrase. Funny show, fun show. Season 2 got a new showrunner, changed the theme music to something stupid, and added this female character who took over the company, and she started running the company, and she wanted everything to be above board. Basically threw in a woman to henpeck the real cast of the show, who made it fun.
Basically, they injected feminism.
No, not as overtly as they would now, but yeah. They injected a female influence that just fucking killed it. Yeah. Women didn't want to watch the show anymore, okay? That's how bad this injection was.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant fucking show. God, it's the way they fucked these things up. They had a chance with Human Target, you know, a callback to those good old days. Great opening music that really set the set the pace for the show. It set up your expectation. It was accurately applied. And then season 2 comes along with a new showrunner. Oh, nothing's going to change. We just added a woman. We changed the music, but nothing's going to change.
So in other words, everything changed.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be in the same spirit. No, it isn't. You never put socially awkward Steve in charge of your show, in charge of your movie, in charge of your credit cards, nothing. Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
Don't let him make your fucking lunch. He's a goddamn joke. Jesus. God, and again, and it's also a kind of Human Target's also kind of a good example of that show that really only lasted one season, but was brilliant and had a brilliant premise, very much like Firefly.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Firefly now and you look at Joss Whedon now and you go, that's the same fucking guy? How can that be the same fucking guy? This guy's a fucking limp wrist. He's a fuck that guy. He's an asshole, you know? Firefly, that's a good show.
I'll give Joss Whedon. He wrote some brilliant stuff. I mean, Buffy and Firefly. Mm-hmm. Buffy was a good show, even if it was aimed at a lower age range than I was at the time that it was out.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it was definitely aimed for the teen and early 20s market. There's no two ways.
Yeah, and it was an actual example of a strong female lead without screaming patriarchy and feminism in every fucking script.
Well, it was initially
from time to time.
It was initially. The one thing that annoyed me about Buffy as it went through, and this is how you could tell Joss Whedon had discovered feminism, is that the male characters eventually became limp celery, and it was all about the girls.
In short, the male characters became women.
Pretty much.
I mean, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way.
I mean, the only saving grace there was Spike.
Kind of, yeah. Because he was the only male character that acted like a guy.
Hmm.
I mean, Angel just acted like a lovesick puppy. Mm-hmm. Xander was a lovesick puppy from the get-go. But he even up a bit too.
Even Xander was a bit tougher early on, and then he went lovesick puppy, and then eventually found his balls again.
Yeah. You know, so many. Do you remember when Willow's girlfriend got shot and killed on Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I do, yeah.
Didn't that piss you right off? Because that pissed me. I liked that character. I really liked that character. I thought she was brilliant. And just, they killed her off, and just in such a, this is one of the reasons I love the way they killed her, because they killed her in such a senseless and meaningless kind of way.
Gave it the Tasha Yar ending.
Well, yeah, but they gave it the Tasha Yar ending with the character you actually cared about.
Yeah.
So it was senseless and tragic because of the senselessness of it.
Yeah, the Tasha Yar ending would have worked if he'd actually been given enough time to actually care about Tasha Yar.
Right. Unfortunately, the only thing anyone seems to care about is fucking Seela, Tasha Yar's illegitimate twin daughter. Well, I don't know how that works.
I'm not quite sure, but hasn't Denise Crosby actually had more screen time as Seela than she did as Tasha at this point?
Not really.
Or does it just seem...
If you count Star Trek Online, then...
Oh, God, yeah. If you count Star Trek Online, she's...
Because it seems she's one of the only characters in the fucking game. You know, until you get... You know, it's like... It goes from a Seela, Tuvok. You know?
By the time you've gone through half a mission with Tuvok, you go, oh, fuck's sake, bring back Seela.
And then Tuvok again, and... Tuvok. Oh, look, there's Seela again. Harry Kim. What the fuck's he doing here? No one liked him the first time. Fuck that guy. Get him out of here. Wait, he's back? Harry Kim again? What, now there's two of them? Oh,
yeah, but Star Trek Online's really weird as you play through, because you get Seela. It's just constant Seela for the first 50 levels. Yeah. And then you get Tuvok and all of the Voyager crew. And
Tuvok feels...
by the time Seela shows up again, you're at the point go, oh, God, Seela, I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah. And then, oh, God, and then Harry Kim, and then Harry Kim, and then Harry Kim twice. And, oh, my God. And now they're trying to push Geordie LaForge everywhere through the game, too.
Well, LeVar Burton, I don't mind. I mean, it's not like he's...
Well, yeah, he was never... As a character, Geordie LaForge was never offensive like Harry Kim was. Harry Kim was offensive because he was badly written. And I'm not knocking the actors here. I'm knocking the characterizations. I'm knocking the writing.
Well, the actor and the character, from what I've seen, Harry Kim and Garrett Wang are very similar anyway.
Maybe. I don't know, because I don't care enough about Harry Kim to actually look into the actor Garrett Wang.
Both are destined to die virgins.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. And, Tasha Yar, you didn't see enough of her to care, and Sela is a very one-note character anyway, and then they one-note her through the game.
Well, to be honest, Sela was intended to be a one-note character anyway.
That's true. And then Tuvok, I'm perfectly fine with Tim Russ. I have a lot of respect for Tim Russ because of a lot of the stuff he did with fan productions. Tim Russ was the kind of guy you want in Star Trek because he actually gave a shit about the property.
Yeah.
And no, not that kind of Harry Kim, Table Coon.
Besides, it's spelled with a Q, not a K.
No, it was spelled with a K.
No, I'm just trying to turn what you said dirty.
Oh, okay. I can barely read it because the print's too small and I'm getting old. But I forgot what I was saying now. Oh yeah, Tim Russ, because he loves the franchise. He loves the universe. He put a lot of work into doing stuff to continue it. And then we get that fucking decree from CBS and Paramount, and they give us fucking Star Trek Discovery. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for Tim Russ. But because of Star Trek Online, I didn't mind him in Voyager. But because of Star Trek Online, I fucking hate Tuvok.
I never liked the Tuvok character, to be totally honest. I mean, I know he's Vulcan and emotionless and all the rest of that, but he was too monotone.
Well, yeah, he's supposed to be. The thing I liked about Tuvok was that he was the stick in the mud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a role that sometimes needs to be filled, and he did that well.
Yeah.
And being monotonous helped to do that. It's when they get it. I'm tired of the Vulcans mainly. I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I'm tired of the fucking Vulcan mysticism, the Ponfar, the fucking Canute Caliphie, the mind meld. God, enough already with the fucking mind meld.
I mean, it's like I got tired of the Klingon stories about halfway through TNG. There are some The Next Generation episodes that I've never seen. Oh God, another Klingon one.
Well, yeah, I liked it when it dealt with the Klingon politics, Duras and Gowron, and a bunch of that stuff in TNG. But when they got into like Sins of the Father, where Worf found a prison camp for the Klingons that was run by Romulans, and they were all families. Yeah, that was boring as hell. And if thankfully,
oh God, I remember Remo Williams.
Oh yeah, Remo Williams. That was a fucking brilliant movie. I even read some of the books, the Destroyer books. Fucking brilliant. In fact, I remember when Marvel Comics debuted the Punisher in the 70s. Someone had the balls to actually, there's never been a character like this. And I'm like, Remo Williams, motherfucker. That's exactly, that is almost note for note. No, not Remo Williams. I'm thinking of another one. It was another one that was in that same Remo Williams universe. God, I forget what the guy's name was. God damn it. Let's see if I can remember. Let's see if I can look something up on the interwebs here. God damn it.
Breaking out the Google foo.
Now, if I punch in...
I was actually sitting there thinking, oh God, what was that movie that Kate Mulgrew showed in for about 2 minutes at the beginning of? And that was it, Remo Williams.
Yeah, Remo Williams. Well, no, she was in more than 2 minutes of that movie. Let's see, the Destroyer was Remo Williams. There was, oh God, there was another, God damn it, there was another series of books I was hoping to find that was published about the same time that had a character that was note for note the fucking Punisher. They just didn't give him that name. But he had a name like the Destroyer. He was like the Executioner. Let me look up that series of books. I think that's what it was. Come on, internet search engine.
I mean, I don't know. I think the 1990s were responsible for killing a lot of good things.
Yep, this is it.
The 1990s seemed to be when they discovered that things could be done via formula.
Yeah, it seems that way. Or there was a there began not just in movies and TV, but in entertainment as a whole.
Yeah, I think what may actually have brought that about is that it was in the 1990s the computers actually became powerful enough to create databases, so they could show what genres did best with the viewers, what storylines did best with the viewers, what kind of characters were most preferred, and they just, well, let's take the best parts of all of those and stick them together, and they just came out with something utterly bland.
Well, yeah, but you're right. When you said formula, I mean very much so, because the music industry did the same thing.
Yeah, oh God.
Because once Whitesnake hit it big, then you had all the bands that started with W. You had White Lion, Winger. It's like that somehow they thought that the W made the band, for example. Oh, incidentally, it was the I'm going to read it here in a minute. The only thing wrong with Star Trek Discovery is the plot, the character story, the ship, the alien species, so effectively everything. We don't mention STD around mentions blood pressure can only get so high. No kidding. It's such a hunk of trash. Refuse is too good a word to describe it, okay? But yeah, it was the Executioner series. The character's name was Mac Bolan. His family was killed by the mafia. So he's ex-military and he went on a fucking vigilante spree. He is the fucking Punisher. Don't tell me the Punisher was the first character of his kind. That's horseshit.
He has a very specific set of skills.
Yeah. I don't. You ever hear Seth MacFarlane do that in Kermit the Frog's voice? That
oh, was that not on the Graham Norton show?
Yeah. Yes. He did that. He did that. That whole particular set of skill speech in Kermit the Frog's voice. It's fucking hilarious. You can find it on YouTube. Just Seth MacFarlane, Graham Norton. You'll run into it. God damn, that was a funny thing. What the fuck were we talking about before Seth MacFarlane came up?
I honestly can't remember, but Seth does have a habit of doing that, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's the basis of the Family Guy is complete non sequiturs that take you in a weird direction.
To be honest, I think in maybe 20 years or 30 years, we're going to look back and actually look at Seth MacFarlane as along the Robin Williams level of genius, somebody who took a chance possibly, in the industry and took it in a different direction.
I think so. Oh, formulas. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. All those fucking formulas. Every bit of entertainment now is just formulaic. The music, all, they've got it down to where if it's this genre of music, it has to be done at this beat.
Yeah.
And with these instruments and with this kind of a singer with this color hair.
The record, in my opinion, the single record with the most to answer for ever produced, Pump Up the Volume. Because once that came out, everybody was sampling everything ever, and it just turned into formula trash from that point onward.
Yeah. And it, like I said, it hit. All the movies are formulaic. All the television shows are formulaic. Even when they did The Arrow, okay, and now we've got 4 fucking superhero TV shows on one network that are all very much in the same vein.
Yeah.
The Arrow starts off, my name is Oliver Queen. And for 5 years, I was in hell and blah, 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 blah. Then you get the Flash. My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. All of these shows have this stupid voiceover intro.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if we didn't know it was the Green Arrow, we wouldn't fucking be watching.
Fair point.
How
Very
about
fair
that?
point.
Well, thank you for telling me for the 12th year in a row that you're Barry Allen and you're the fastest man alive. I never would have gotten that by the fact that you're called the Flash. For fuck's sake. Yes, Supergirl. I know you came from the planet Krypton. It kind of comes with the S on your chest. You know why? Because we know about Superman.
You may well be right there, fuckwad. They do say though that there's only 7 story types, and everything is a variation of one of them.
Pretty much. And that's fine, because there are different ways to tell those stories. And, because you could tell the same story from probably 10 different perspectives, and each one would be interesting if it's well written.
Yeah.
It's not the limitation on the number of story types I have a problem with. It's the bad writing. It's the over dependence on formula. I swear I hear it all the time in my head. And I'm hearing it now with Star Wars, to go back to what we started talking about in this latest iteration. I just picture a table full of studio execs, and one person's like, well, people seem to like lightsabers.
That's where it all went wrong, is writing by committee, whereas the best films were basically one person's...
No, not even writing by committee, because it's still generally written by 1 or 2, maybe 3 people. But the committee gets together and they say, okay, well, then they decide what elements of popular culture they want to put in this thing. That's why the Star Wars films have all that Tony Stark type comedy in them now, all that Tony Stark type dialogue.
Yeah.
It's because people seem to like Tony Stark.
But they still don't have the balls to go full Deadpool. Right.
But, someone did have the balls to go full Deadpool, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And they got the right guy for the right job. That's what I mean. These are the things you have to do to make something successful. You got to get all the right things in the right place. You need the right writer. You need the right director. You need the right actor.
Well,
you need to get the studio suits out of the equation, except to go to them for money.
Didn't Ryan Reynolds spend a lot of years pushing for Deadpool?
Yes, he did. Because Ryan Reynolds absolutely loves Deadpool. It's that Tim Russ thing again.
That's probably why that movie worked, instead of just hiring in a bunch of actors who were only really interested in the paycheck. They got somebody who actually cared about the product.
Yes. Look at Chris Evans, who plays Captain America. I know you're not in the superhero thing like I am. But Chris Evans, the actor, the person, is one of those SJW type dicks. Those virtue signaling cunts from Hollywood, okay? But he plays Captain America really well. He really captures Captain America in a brilliant way.
Well, he's one of those SJWs who still believes in being a professional.
Apparently. So the fact that I don't see him every day spewing out more SJW nonsense means that I'm still willing to put money into watching him as Captain America. Maybe that's not, a lot of the artistic types will say you have to separate the art from the artist. And when an artist gets political, they're kind of relying on their artistry to push their political message. So
Yeah.
how about the artist starts to separate the artist from the art? You know, you want to go push your fucking narrative? Do it on your time. You know, do it.
Yes,
You know, they did that.
I don't remember if it was the last stream we had this exact conversation where it's sort of like, you are here to promote our movie, not to start your political crap.
It was about the Justice League movie where Ezra Miller as who played the Flash, and Gal Gadot, who played Wonder Woman, were interviewing each other.
Yeah.
And Ezra Miller wanted her to spew some SJW bullshit with one eyebrow painted blue for some fucking reason.
And she just pulled the rug out from under him in the most amazing way possible.
Yeah, because she was classy.
Yeah.
You know? Because she was there to do the job of promoting the film, not doing the job of pushing a political agenda.
Yeah.
And you know, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love her for it. I don't, you know, even if she believes what he was talking about, I love her for doing that because she was being a professional.
I'm being paid to do a job, and I'm going to do that job. When I'm being interviewed as myself on Letterman, then yeah, I'll say what I believe. But until then,
right? You know, and that's provided the Justice League doesn't flop. It flopped.
I'm wondering if it's getting to the point now where people are just so sick of superhero movies.
No, I doubt that. I really doubt that. The problem with superhero movies isn't that people are tired of superhero movies. It's that people are tired of the same story. I mean, Doctor Strange didn't do as well as Iron Man because they're the same story, and Iron Man was out there first.
Yeah.
You know, a successful white guy, or not white guy, but successful guy who gets damaged somehow, develops a super thing, and goes back and fixes stuff. You know, that's basic story. And yeah. They both have they both have that story. And in fact, it even goes so far as to hey Boons, it even goes so far as them both having the chin wig, the Van Dyke beard.
Well, Table Cunt, I don't disagree with you, but I think that is a second issue. I mean, even without the feminism being in them, Hollywood has gotten to the point where they're relying on the formula too much.
Yes. And the injection of feminism on top of that formula.
Nothing is interesting. They don't take risks.
Well, yeah, that's just it. You know, that there's
I mean, the only risk I've seen recently has actually been Deadpool.
Pretty much. Guardians of the Galaxy, that was a risk. Which, that's a Marvel property that really not many people were all that aware of. And that movie hit, and you know, again, all the right things were in place.
Yeah.
You know, because Guardians of the Galaxy proved one thing, that a movie of that type, the superhero genre, should be fun.
Yeah.
That's Iron Man was fun. All the Iron Man stuff is fun. Even the bad ones, and Iron Man's 2 and 3 are... The Iron Man standalone films did get progressively worse. But because of Robert Downey Jr. and his character and the way he portrays Tony Stark, those movies are still kind of fun. You're still going to sit and watch because, you know, this is the part where Tony says, you know, and it's fucking brilliant because he's fun. Thor is fun. Thor: The Dark World was kind of shit, but overall, Thor is a fun character because he's Thor, and you know, he's you get a bit of a fish out of water thing with Thor. So I mean, you know, it's fun on that level.
I'm actually kind of the opinion that I would love to see a Harley Quinn movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Because that character is fun.
Yes, but you know what they would do? Because it's Harley Quinn and it's a lady girl, they would turn it into a feminist movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true.
And, you know, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't suck all the sexiness out of the character for Suicide Squad. Because they left a lot of the sexiness in the character for Suicide Squad. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's what made the
Quinn was
character
the best
work.
part of that movie.
Well, Harley Quinn,
the best part.
I mean, Will Smith was the A-list actor in there, and she totally outshone him.
Yes, because her character was fun.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, when I say a movie should be fun, your deepest fucking heart-wrenching drama is fun. That's why we watch them. You know, we watch the really good romantic comedies because they're fun. Sleepless in Seattle, that's a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch.
Well,
you get a bit wrapped up in that emotional journey. You know, that's fun to do.
Ultimately, you care about characters that you like, and you like people naturally who can make you laugh, who can make you smile. They could be the biggest asshole on the planet, but if they make you smile, you tend to go, oh, they're all right in my book.
Well, no, and if they make you feel something. Will Smith's character, Floyd Lawton, Deadshot, in Suicide Squad, didn't make you feel anything except that, hey, look, it's another Will Smith vehicle.
I didn't feel anything about his character until right at the end, after the job was done, that last little scene of his with his daughter. And they went to take him away, and the only bit of feeling I ever got for that character was, oh, that sucks. And that was it.
Yeah, but it wasn't a very deep feeling, was it?
No, it was very fleeting.
It was less a feeling and more of a commentary on the situation.
Yeah.
See, and that's where they're fucking up. You could tell me the same story over and over. If it's done well, then I'll like it. You know, and Doctor Strange, even though it's, and honestly, going back to the comics even, the two origin stories are very similar in that respect that I'd mentioned earlier. They really are. But fucking Doctor Strange was a fun fucking movie. Got the right guy for the part. I can't imagine anyone else playing Stephen Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch was fucking perfect for it. Same way that Robert Downey Jr. is fucking perfect to play Tony Stark. Same way Chris Evans is fucking perfect to play Captain America.
And also, same could be said of the person whose name I can't fucking remember now, who played Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue when we were talking about it.
Was mine
moments
as well.
ago, and I've lost it now. I want to say Jeanette Smiley, but that's a little too on the nose. But yeah, again, the fucking perfect casting. She was fucking brilliant as Harley Quinn. Absolutely brilliant. You know, Tom Holland has done as Spider-Man, or especially as Peter Parker, has done pretty good. They made the Spider-Man Homecoming a bit too much of a comedy.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
Margot Robbie, yes. Fucking brilliant. Tom Holland is about as good a Peter Parker as I think we're going to get. I don't know if it's fucking brilliant yet because I haven't seen him pop up enough. But in Captain America Civil War, I'm going to say, I've said it before, I'll keep saying it to the day I die, because it's still true even after Spider-Man Homecoming. Captain America Civil War is the best Spider-Man movie we've ever gotten. It really is.
To be totally fair, I have not seen it.
Oh, I know you're just not into the superhero thing like I am, and that's fine. You know, and that's one of the reasons Marvel is killing it while DC is not. Is because perfect fucking casting. Look, I fucking love Jason Momoa. I like watching him do his thing. Okay, I will enjoy watching Jason Momoa as Aquaman. But it's still going to be Jason Momoa as Aquaman. It's not going to be Aquaman.
Yeah,
if you follow me.
The sign of a really great character is you no longer see the actor.
Right. And Jason Momoa, I'm always going to see Jason Momoa. You know, he's not the world's greatest actor, but that's perfectly fine because he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Get him into the right role, and it'll be fucking brilliant and make shitloads of money. You know, like when he played Ronan Dex on Stargate Atlantis. Fucking brilliant. You know, he was the strong silent type, but he was also he wasn't the strong silent type that was peaceful. He was the strong silent type who would kick your ass. He just doesn't have much to say. You know?
Yeah, which is good because I ended up, I mean, it was really good in Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy Krueger was doing the one-liners after he killed you, but then everybody started doing it.
Yeah. And even in the Freddy Krueger movies, God, it got boring.
One and two were okay, but by the time they got to 3, it was just, okay, you guys are just...
well, yeah,
you're trying too hard now.
Yeah, by the time you got to 3, you're like, who's writing this shit? Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because that's his thing, is those goofy one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, it stopped being entertaining and it started being, okay, here we go again. Very funny. Very clever. Hey, just give me, and I'll go back too and say, yeah, give us something new at the same time.
Do you know what the thing about the goofy one-liner is, though?
Timing.
Well, yeah, exactly, but not probably for the reason you mean. The only person who's there to hear the one-liner and appreciate it, you've just killed.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the funniest thing you'll ever say, and there was nobody around.
Oh, that's the thing. You know, you can't take what is essentially, I don't care if Freddy Krueger was a dream monster. He's still basically a serial killer. You cannot take a serial killer and turn him into a comedian and expect to be scared by him. That's why Michael Myers in the original Halloween works so well.
Yeah.
Is because never said a word. The way he moved and the way he went after people was creepy as fuck. I mean, very little blood in that movie, and it's still scarier than any new horror film you will ever watch.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I'd love to see as a movie concept? Christina Ricci, because I don't care, Christina Ricci has been the best Wednesday Addams there's ever been.
And there's only really been 2.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
3.
Well, there's been a few of them, but there's only really been 2 that anybody accepts. But
yeah, she really captured it.
Wednesday Addams, grown up, turned serial killer.
You know, there is actually I found a series on YouTube where
the girl who plays Wednesday Addams and goes around like stalking her ex-boyfriend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was brilliant.
It's like a fan production.
She's not allowed to do them anymore. Addams. She's not allowed to do them. Yeah. Whoever it was that owned the copyright stopped her doing anymore.
See, that's stupid.
Yeah. Because they were absolutely brilliant and they were hilarious.
She was keeping the franchise in people's heads. She was creating a situation where the fans of that franchise would very likely want more. All they had to do was to set up, just like with Star Trek and CBS and Paramount. You don't shut down the fan productions.
In the chat.
Yes, there is.
Would the mad woman care to come and join?
Yeah, Mad Woman. Are you able at this point to see if you can stream on her channel as well?
Not at this point. I need a lot of information off of her to
that's true.
Up.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the sort of stuff I don't really want to be broadcasting to the whole of YouTube.
That's true. But we're talking about the Addams family, basically, Boons.
Well, not so much the Addams family, more Wednesday than anything else.
Well, yeah, but because of that gal doing her fan production of a grown-up Wednesday Addams, it's basically free advertising for the franchise. All they have to do, just like I suggested with Star Trek and CBS and Paramount, work with the fan productions. Maybe, if you don't want to shell out a shit ton of money and you want to make more than your investment, help them put together some sort of a marketing package or a DVD packaging setup for their product, but you get a cut of the revenue. How fucking hard is that?
Yeah, because the Addams Family hasn't done anything since the mid-90s. At least it was keeping the franchise in people's mind.
No, Boons, it's not bad. You never watched it. I never cared for it that much anyway. I only liked Lurch.
To be totally honest, I preferred the Munsters.
I hated the Munsters. Just because Fred Gwynn was too bubbly for my taste. Yeah.
I never particularly liked Herman Munster. I always liked Grandpa.
But I don't understand why these big these IP holders, especially if they're not doing anything with the product, man, you gotta why do you think Star Wars is so big?
I mean, it's not like it's not like the girl who was doing Wednesday Addams was trashing the franchise.
No, she was doing a really interesting take on it.
Yeah. It's got to be about the best original, non-original content I think I've ever seen.
You ever punch in Star Wars fan film into a YouTube search? Holy shit, you come up with a lot of stuff, and a lot of it is really good. And, sometimes it's just a 15-minute tip. There's one where they do a tale of Boba Fett with next to no dialogue. It's done like a Clint Eastwood Western. And it is fucking brilliant.
Well, Blizzard Entertainment had the right idea with World of Warcraft. I don't know about their subsequent franchises like Overwatch and stuff like that, whether they still allow it. But with World of Warcraft, it says, yep, we've got all these in-game graphics. We'll even give you a model viewer so that you can make use of them. Go for your life, make films, make movies, use our stuff, because at the end of the day, it's free advertising. People will watch your movie and they go, what video game is that from? And you go, oh, it's World of Warcraft. I need to go and look at that.
Yeah, exactly. And shit, this Wednesday Addams thing, they haven't produced anything since the 90s, the IP holders. So, when someone comes along with an idea for this fan production that's really interesting, someone's going to look at that and go, hey, you know what, Wednesday Addams, let's go look at that shit again. They'll probably look at the TV series and they'll probably look at the movies. Shit, keep your franchise alive.
Yeah, I mean...
You want to know a good way to kill a franchise? Star Trek Discovery. J.J. Abrams.
I mean,
These are great ways to kill good ideas.
I mean, I'm sure Christina Ricci would quite happily take the work.
Yeah, she is very much the actress that'll do anything, isn't she? I mean, she's like John Candy in that way. It seems like John Candy never turned down a role. He would do absolutely anything, and she seems to. I'm saying that her career spans a bunch of different genres.
From what I can make out, Christina Ricci's one of those who's the good sort of crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for her, I think it would probably be a fun gig.
I mean, hell, even if it doesn't get to the big screen, just get a Netflix series.
Yeah. Shit, there's money in that. And if you follow that gal's lead a little bit, who was doing the fan stuff, you can do it pretty inexpensively.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I remember one of the best ones she did was just her and her co-star in the local hardware store.
Yeah. I mean, that shit was so fucking brilliant, man. Because, I mean, that's just it, too. That's one of the mistakes Hollywood makes, is that they keep going for all this overblown shit. And, that's why the story suffers. That's why the characterizations suffer. That's why the writing suffers. That's why the movie looks like it was edited in a blender. Is because they keep going for all this. Well, we need explosions. We got to have all the explosions. Let's have a different colored explosion for a different thing, so it'll look like many different kinds of explosions, and then we can do a bunch of laser laser beams over here and then gunshots over here and with more explosions. You know, they keep focusing on the wrong stuff. You know, and they know they're doing it. This is the terrible part. It's because Michael Bay was successful with Transformers. Not because the movies are good, it's just because they're a spectacle. They're going too much. You know what it is? Modern visual entertainment, TV and movies especially, are leaning a little too hard into a tabloid version of Hollywood. You know, we get Transformers is a tabloid. Transformers by Michael Bay is like a tabloid version of Transformers. It's a big splashy headline. You know, Hitler's brain is alive inside a jar.
Yeah.
Well, let's go see what this story is about. That's nothing. You got that right, Boons. How to tell it's a Michael Bay movie? There's an explosion almost every second. Oh, and let's stop doing the edits where you have to edit the guy doing the one maneuver 6 different times and you have to show it from 6 different angles. We get it. You know, he stepped on the crack, he broke his mother's back. Okay, we get it. We don't need to see it from 8 different angles to figure out how many different ways his shoelace came untied.
There's a link going into my YouTube chat that links to a single video that has all of the adult Wednesday Addams videos back to back. Because
it's a playlist.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't know if it's a playlist or if it's just one video where they've just edited it all together. But unfortunately, the girl who did it has had to take down the videos. It's not just don't do anymore; it's get rid of them all.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Those are absolutely hilarious. Anybody who's watching, I really do suggest that you go and.
And you know, they do all this distracting shit just like a tabloid. You know, they do all this distracting shit with the visual effects and with the editing. And meanwhile, I'm left sitting there going, can I just fucking enjoy your movie, please? You know, I want to enjoy this, but you're making it really fucking hard, Suicide Squad. With poor, I feel so bad for Cara Delevingne. I really do for that movie because there's some director who told her she has to look whenever she's the evil version. It's like, well, you're supposed to be evil, so every time you're in the evil costume, you have to look like you're dry humping the arm of a sofa.
Yeah.
God, that's annoying. I felt so bad. That pulled me out of the movie. You know, you watch the movie. Why is she dry humping the arm of a sofa? You know, why does she look like she's pretending to ride her dog like a horse, but it's a different kind of ride? You know, it.
Well, they photoshopped out the Sibian.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. It really was that bad. Her gyrating and undulating.
Yeah, there's mysterious movements, but those weren't at all mysterious. All she was missing was a boyfriend.
Yeah, it was lame. You know, and that kind of shit just sucks you right out of a movie. I want to be in the movie, you know. I want to be in that story. That's why I went to the theater. And so it's a big old thing right in front of me, and I can sit down. It feels kind of like you're in there with them a little bit because it's so fucking huge. And look, there they are. They're flying through the thing. But no. Instead, we have to see them fly through the thing from 84 different angles. It's like they hire editors who suffer from a persistent and quite strong stutter.
The roboting was because of me. I opened something and my computer did not like it.
Oh, well, blame me.
No, that's purely my fault.
Oh, come on, let me have some fun.
Oh, okay. It's your fault, Mitch.
Fine. But, you know, I have to wonder why Hollywood doesn't want me to enjoy their products.
It does almost seem that way, doesn't it? It's like, we've got a brilliant idea. Let's see how much we can piss you off before you just stop paying attention to us.
All right. And, like for Justice League and for Star Wars, for these two in particular, I got fed up with the fucking marketing. I was tired of that shit.
That's the whole reason why I've never watched any of the Star Wars films since the original 3. Is because when the Force Awakens or whatever the first one was came out, that's all you heard about on the media for weeks, and I just got so sick of hearing about it. I said, right, I'm never watching that movie.
You know what? Here's what you do for the next Star Wars movie. Number 1, good writers who understand the universe. And yeah, they're going to have to work at a bit of a disadvantage because of all the fuckery that's taken place to this point. Yeah, but a good writer can work within those limitations and still tell a really good story. So yeah, spend some money on a writer. On the marketing, stop releasing 84 different trailers that have like a split second more content in it.
Phantom Menace, yeah, you're right there.
Just stop that. Have your teaser trailer, bum bum, Star Wars, the resuscitation,
Star Wars, the regurgitation.
No, because we're hoping for a resuscitation here, aren't we? But do that, Star Wars, the resuscitation, hopefully. Okay, that's your teaser. That's your teaser. Just the title, okay, and get people to go yes, so they have that moment. Okay, that's an important moment. And then release 1, maybe 2 trailers, and then stop it.
Yeah,
just fucking stop it.
One other thing they should invest some money into it. It doesn't even have to be budget breaking. Get a group like 3, 5, 7 super fans
and have
to go over your script. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're the ones who are going to know that that Jabba the Hutt doesn't pee standing up. The super fans are going to know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is for the next Star Wars movie, keep the marketing very simple and try to open it in the theaters a little more quietly. Because we're as a I'm going to say semi-former Star Wars fan, I'm losing interest. The marketing is making me lose interest.
It's getting too overkill. You need a 10-second thing. It's Star Wars, flash shot, flash shot, flash shot, flash shot, coming November 23rd. That's all you need, and people will be hyped as fuck over that, all on its own.
Yep. It's that simple. Well, there's another aspect to it that the studios can't control, and that's these assholes on YouTube. These assholes who see the the 20-second trailer, not even that, maybe 10 or 15-second trailer, and then they have to go through and stop every frame of the trailer and do an analysis on every frame of the trailer to tell you, see, this is where he's holding the red lightsaber, so he might be a bad guy because we all know the bad guys hold the red lightsabers. And this is where he turns the lightsaber on. You can tell because it's not in the full-on position. The blade's only halfway because we stopped in the middle of frames to show you that the lightsaber, when it turns on, it starts at one point and ends at another. These guys have to shut the fuck up.
But then most people are intelligent enough to know that if they see that trailer, you then keep away from all of those YouTube videos because you just know that they're going to ruin your experience.
Yeah. Boone says a good point. How to get good Star Wars director writers for the movie? don't fuck over previously existing characters. Good point. I agree. You know, fuck what? Star Wars episode sad face. But, you know, some of the I generally I don't mind the when they grab that 10-15 second trailer and take a look at it and say, oh, this looks like it's going to be cool. You know, here we, you know, this looks like it's some sort of a new fighter. That's going to be neat. You know, that kind of thing is perfectly fine. But some of these people got to just shut up about the inconsequential bullshit. You know, again, why does Darth Vader wear a cape? There is actually a YouTube video that goes by that name.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, when you're looking at stuff that deeply, you've lost focus. There's a much bigger picture involved. Who cares? He's Darth Vader.
When you're looking at it that deeply, there's one of two explanations. You either A, have no life, or B, are desperate for clicks.
Yeah. Or, you know, it's what do you want him to wear? A fucking tutu? Seriously, what else is he going to wear? Because his figure, the shape of Darth Vader would change without that cape.
Yeah.
It would cease to be imposing. It would look like a guy with an oversized head. It's like, oh, look, oh, what, we're supposed to be afraid of fucking Big Head over here? Fuck. Come on. He looks like if he chases us, he's going to fall over. He's too top heavy. That's why he wears a cape, because it looks good. Get a grip. Get a clue. Get over it. Jesus, I swear, part of the Darth Toto confirmed. Tutu. Tutu is spelled T-U-T-U, by the way.
Yeah, Toto's the dog from The Wizard of Oz. Although that could be interesting. Darth Toto.
Why not? Why not? They haven't done that yet. That would sell toys. I mean, fuck. All we have to do is wait for Disney to buy the rights to The Wizard of Oz, which I think Frank Baum's. That is Frank Baum or Frank L. Baum, isn't it?
L. Baum sounds more correct, yeah.
But I think his stuff is public domain now, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I can see all Disney has to do is buy out fucking The Wizard of Oz as a franchise, and then you're gonna get Darth Toto. You know, because it'll sell fucking plushy toys. Fuck. God, you know what? I said it out loud, so now it's going to happen. God damn it. Yep, the next Star Wars failure is all on me, guys. I get to take the hit for that one.
You really need to start typing better, because now I've got Elven Jedi in my mind, and that is just kind of... It's kind of like Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars.
Oh, good God. Yeah, I just saw that too. Yeah, that fucks up my head. You know, Justice League, you know, every bit of exposure I've had to stuff going on with Justice League, they release behind the scenes stuff as part of the marketing. You know, and don't do that.
No, people don't.
It doesn't work. All you're stuck with is Ezra Miller trying to be fucking cute.
It'd be like Penn and Teller showing how they do the magic trick as their advertisement to come and see the show. It's just like, no, you want to be left in awe and wonder, not know how it was done. Except for their show where they did actually show how things were done. But that was a specific idea, which they...
Well, but when Penn and Teller show you how something's done, they dazzle you with something else they're doing at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Hollywood should take a clue from that. You know, I didn't want to see the Justice League in front of a bunch of green. Okay, before I went and saw the movie. That's the shit you put on the fucking DVD.
People want to suspend their disbelief when they go to a movie, not know how it was made.
Right. You know, we practically had documentary length stuff about the Justice League before the Justice League movie was even released. You didn't have to see it anymore. You caught all the good stuff in the fucking materials they released ahead of time. Stop that. Shit, what's wrong with you people? Do I have to come over there? Is that what it's going to take? Yes, a tiny terrier jumping around swinging a lightsaber.
And there's also the problem that you see a lot of trailers now, and you see that film looks brilliant. I've got no desire to see it because you've probably just shown me the best parts.
Yes, that's the other thing. You know, the other day we watched that Star Trek II trailer.
Yeah,
the
I was
Star
just
Trek
thinking
II
of that,
modern
actually.
trailer. And two things occurred to me watching that. It was really well put together. Number one, they set it up so you would expect some things, and they didn't do them, but they did without doing them.
Yeah.
Watch the trailer, you'll find out. But the other side of that is that trailer seems to have raised expectations for that movie in a weird way.
Yeah, I want to see that movie again now because I'm now expecting something totally different to what I know it is.
Right. I mean, it made the movie look like it was far more exciting than it really is, as far as, combat and all that stuff.
Yeah, because Wrath of Khan's a good movie, but it is still somewhat plodding in places.
Yes. But at the same time, I watched someone once do an analysis on The Next Generation versus, I think it was Red Letter Media, actually, versus, I think it was the first JJ movie, if I'm not mistaken, the first JJ Star Trek. And this applies also to the one I was just talking about. What was it?
Wrath of Khan.
Fuck me. Wrath of Khan. You know that part in Wrath of Khan where they beam down to Regula, to the space station, and they're walking around, and it's a slow pace.
Yeah. Chekhov and random black guy number 3.
Captain Terrell.
Yeah. I can never remember his name.
When Kirk and crew beam down and they're searching the space station for the crew of the space station.
Oh yeah.
Because it's seemingly abandoned. That whole part of the movie, without a bunch of running, jumping, and dancing in place and all this stuff, and boomy boom booms and light shows, it's a very exciting and thrilling bit of that movie, but it is slow as hell.
Yeah.
Now they did the same thing in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation years later, where I think it was Picard, Troy, and O'Brien, when O'Brien, Troy, and Data were taken over by the spirits of
I know the
energy beings that were imprisoned on the planet.
I know the one you mean.
All they're doing is walking from 10 forward to a cargo bay. And it is an exciting and thrilling piece. All they're doing is walking from A to B.
Yeah.
And it is far more exciting than watching that fucking J.J. Abrams abomination that he called Star Trek.
Right, for those of you in listening land, for those of you in listening land, there is going to be a slight bit of background noise while I produce coffee. Don't worry about it. Your stream is not broken.
The reason that stuff is so exciting is because you're put in a position, because of the good writing, to give a damn about the characters. And holy shit, that seems louder than usual.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's strange. But you're put in a position because of good writing to give a damn about the characters and the story. Yes, Terrell is another black captain people forget when they say Star Trek has no captains of color. I agree, Tabletoon.
Star Trek has no cock.
Well, it doesn't anymore. Thanks to J.J. Abrams and whoever the fuck was behind Discovery. I don't remember anymore. Kurtzman and Orsi, I think, or one of them, or both of them. No, it was someone else. But has anyone else noticed that anytime you get a Kurtzman and Orsi fucking team up. It's just absolutely a shit experience. How do these fuckers keep getting work? How are they not laughed out of that fucking industry?
Sorry, bitch, but radio announcer voice on that one was just timed.
Oh, yes. Hillsdale chocolate-covered coffee beans when constipation has got to go. This stream brought to you by the loudest coffee maker ever.
And Moosecow for when you absolutely have to milk them out.
Oh, come on, Boons. It's popular culture, man. God, it's just... I don't know how those two fuckers keep getting work, honestly.
I'm not sure whether I need to ban table cooking from my chat or not.
What's that?
How dare thou diss the coffee?
Oh, man, are you fucking high? Aircore has entered the coffee mines. That noise you hear is the sound of the machines that extract the coffee from the earth. I kind of like that idea. I like that idea, and I want to see a fantasy film based around it.
Hi ho, to Nescafe we go.
Oh God, don't. I hate the Lord of the Rings. I'm going to say it right now, guys. Since Boone's mentioned Lord of the Rings in the chat, I fucking hate the Lord of the Rings. Why? Slow movies. The characters don't interest me. It seems like most of the I've never read the original works.
The only character in the Lord of the Rings movies that interested me was the dwarf, and that's because he was funny as fuck. But the rest of them were just
hell yes. That's still only one.
I'm glad you're gonna have to toss me. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, the dwarf was fucking beautifully done.
Yeah.
But that dwarf alone is not enough for me to be interested in that movie. Gimli, yes.
Yeah.
Or rather, in those movies, they plod.
They do.
I didn't care about Frodo. I didn't care about his gay friend with the hairy feet.
And to make it worse, I
didn't care about any of those assholes at all.
To make it worse, when I watched the director's cut, which you just know was even longer.
Oh God, yeah. You know, I didn't care about high budget Dumbledore because I'm sorry, but Gandalf the Grey is orders of magnitude better than Dumbledore. Even as someone who hates Lord of the Rings, I'm going to say that out loud. Gandalf is orders of magnitude better than Dumbledore. I'm just saying it. And I don't care about Gandalf. You know, I don't care about the tower with the flaming eyeball and the the engagement that went so bad that they had to throw the engagement ring in a fucking volcano. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about the Hobbit guy who was the main character of the Hobbit. I don't care about him. I don't care about your fucking Precious. I don't care about that little dwarf, not dwarf, but that little goobly. That little fucker. I forgot his name, and I don't care.
Gollum.
I just don't care about any of it. It never grabbed me. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a cough. Let's see. Fuckwad says the books are much better, and that's what I was getting at earlier in my talk about the fucking Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. I think the popularity of those movies was driven by people who have read the books and in their heads already have a better grip on what's going on, or people who are just low information voters, basically, who like the way things look.
And I think there was kind of a dearth of fantasy movies around that time period. Anyway, there hadn't been any decent ones for a few years prior.
Right. They really hadn't. I mean, they tried World of Warcraft or the Warcraft movie, but that was much later, actually.
The Warcraft movie was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, they did really well.
Did they?
Yeah, the Warcraft movie, I was actually quite surprised at just how well they did with it. But then with the amount of lore in the Warcraft universe, it would be really difficult to fuck it up. You've got stories there waiting to be that basically have come fully formed to be told. So it would be really difficult to screw up.
Boone's touches on something that's another thing that they do in Hollywood, and they just did it with the Gunslinger, the Stephen King movie. Too many characters introduced in a short time span. Now, I read the first book in that series, and a couple of the others as well, the Gunslinger. And the Gunslinger is mainly the main character walking across a desert, stops at a dude's house, pisses on his corn so he can water it. But Steve.
Oh, God damn it.
And it doesn't work. Tell the story properly. And I'm no fan of Stephen King, but the movie is shit. I suspect a lot of that happened with Lord of the Rings. They tried to squeeze as much stuff as they could in as possible too quickly. And that maybe that's what robbed me of being able to connect with any of the characters.
Yeah, I think Suicide Squad and all of those multi-hero movies kind of have that problem as well. Everybody has to be introduced in the first 20 minutes. It's just the necessity of filmmaking. But if you get too many characters, you end up not actually caring about any of them.
Right. Because there's no time to develop an interest in them, let alone to care about them. They had fucking Killer Croc in Suicide Squad. I mean, for all he's worth in the movie, you could just call him Alligator Man.
Yeah, he basically had one bit where this is my time to shine.
Yeah. To start a Suicide Squad thing, I think the best way to start that is to do not a Suicide Squad movie, but to do Task Force X. Because that's what Suicide Squad grew out of.
It was like what we were saying before. You kind of have to give everybody their own movie and then bring them all together in a culmination.
Right. Well, see, that's the brilliance of Suicide Squad if they had done it right. Because we've talked about this before, how to make a successful DC cinematic universe.
Yeah.
With those characters. And we mentioned a lot of different villains for a lot of different heroes. I think we covered up to 12 movies? I don't know.
I think it was even more than that.
It might be.
But if you do it right, you can churn out a lot of movies and make a lot of money out of it.
Right.
Because by the time you get to the final movie, everybody is just wanting. You've got all these threads that have been running through, and they just want to see it all come together and how amazing it's going to be. Which then you run the risk of letting everybody down.
Yeah. But here's the good news. This is where DC could do something different than Marvel and utilize the Suicide Squad to do it. Throughout that series of movies we'd mentioned before, you do throw a couple of the minor villains in there to introduce them just a little bit. I'm not saying full-on backstory, but just enough backstory for this to work. Where you have a little bit later, say 3/4, maybe 2/3 of the way through the run of your cinematic universe, you introduce a Suicide Squad, and it's some of those lower level type villains like Deadshot, like Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
like Killer Croc. You know, you introduce them there, and it's only, oh, cool, this is a movie with all the villains from these other movies that we like, and now they have to go fight a thing. Okay, cool. But then, if you'd ever watched Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, one of the brilliant things they did there at the end of that run when they went up against Super Darkseid was the villains teamed up with the heroes. Because, you know, fuck Darkseid, I'm a villain, but this is my planet too.
Because sometimes there's a threat that's so big you don't have another choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right there, Mad Woman. Another way to do it would be do a live action version of Assault on Arkham. Because that one, it was still a Batman movie, but they introduced all those villains and they made them interesting, and they still had their Suicide Squad. And it's just, God, it would be brilliant for this cinematic universe that we talked about before to end up that way, where they finally get up against the big bad. The heroes find that they're a bit outmatched, and you know, then the bad guys show up and say, hey, you know what? We're going to help you out too. Because fuck that guy. I live here.
And there's also the problem with the way that they're doing it now. The superheroes aren't terribly heroic because, yeah, they get rid of the bad guy, but the bad guys keep coming back.
Well, yeah, but sometimes that's going to happen. You know, Lex
sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Lex Luthor is always going to come back because he's primarily a Superman villain. Superman won't kill. Happily throw him in the clink for a while.
Joker's another one like that.
You know, but Lex Luthor's going to come back. You know, it just works. Oh, God. It's frustrating more than anything else to watch what they're doing with the DC movies.
Boons, yeah, I got no problem with that, just so long as we never get a movie with the Batman who dances.
Oh, God. Or the Batman who wears a different colored cowl every night.
I still remember an episode of the Adam West Batman where his cowl was pink.
Yeah. I think it was a Hollywood-made villain that gave him a pink cowl or dyed it or something, and you know, somehow we're supposed to believe that Batman's got only the one cowl.
Whereas it clearly shows in one of the Batman movies that he's got several of the suits.
Yeah.
You know, I guess he must have come into some money.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's got to be it. With the DC movies, it's not so much that they're shit movies, but they are. It's that they're frustrating. You know, that they cross a certain line where it's not fun to watch them. It's frustrating to watch them as a fan. And, you know, they're going to blame it on the, oh, well, people are just getting tired of the superhero movies. No, they're not. They want superhero movies. They just want them to be good.
Yeah.
They want to go to the movies and not be frustrated.
I'm not dissing on Adam West's Batman. I'm dissing on his pink cowl.
Adam West, did you ever... Oh, God, when Adam West died, there's a YouTube show that I watch called Right Angle with Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and Scott Ott. You know, three guys, you know, they just get in front of the camera and go, you know, this shit's stupid. Basically, you know, they're on the conservative side of things.
Yeah.
But when Adam West died, they did an episode of that about Adam West and portraying Batman. And man, just stuff that I never realized because I really only watched it as a kid.
Yeah,
I can't go back and watch it now because it's a little too campy.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't enjoy it as a Batman thing. But they pointed out that the way, you know, as a kid watching it, the way Adam West would read the line and say, to like the Joker, you criminal, just with the total disgust and distaste of the criminal thing. It really impressed upon me that God, them pointing that out really illustrated to me how that has an impression on a young mind. There's your hero, because we went up every day after school, and me and two other friends, we get together, sit down to watch the fucking Batman. What are you doing? Watching Batman. You can't stop us. We watch fucking Batman and the the whole thing.
Yeah.
And little things, little touches in that show like that, I never thought about it. And the people making the show probably didn't think about it either. They probably just thought it'd be a goofy way, for Adam West as Batman to call someone basically a scumbag without saying scumbag.
Yeah, the whole use of the word criminal in that particular Batman thing, that always irritated me. That particular word always irritated me. Can you not think of anything like you fiend, you, anything else? But it was always criminals will always be criminals, Robin. And so like, buy a thesaurus.
There's so many Batman villains that haven't appeared in live action for every superhero, Mario. For everyone. Look, I don't know if anyone else has heard me on this rant here. I know a couple people have, but I'm going to do this rant anyway. And this rant is Lex Luthor. Ever since 1977, 1978, whenever that first Richard Donner Superman movie came out, Lex Luthor has been pretty much a joke in the comics and in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and the basically the DC animated universe. Brilliant portrayal of Lex Luthor, businessman, scientist, hyper intelligent. They gave him a pretty decent pathos with a jealousy of Superman. I mean, just really well thought out, really well written, and really well characterized. But then you get into
it's Maddie.
The movies. Oh, she made it. Cool.
Yep, I made it.
Right on.
Moosecow.
Lopez. But then you get into the Superman movies with Lex Luthor. And until Jesse Eisenberg, the only thing Luthor did involved real estate scams.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a disgruntled real estate agent. The first one, he's going to blow up frickin' California so he can have beachfront property that he bought in Nevada.
No, that I could back up.
So could I.
But that's totally different reasons.
I'm actually kind of on board with that plan these days.
Yeah.
In Superman 2, when he made a deal with General Zod, he wanted the continent of Australia. I don't know what the hell was going on. And oh no, that wasn't even Lex Luthor. Never mind. In Superman 3 and Superman 4, at least it was a bit of a revenge story there. Kill Superman, Yeah, cool. So yeah, a little bit of a departure there. But then we get to the thing that Bryan Singer put together, the mopey Superman, who seemed like he was still in high school and couldn't get a date, spying on Lois Lane. And then you got Lex Luthor in that movie. And what's he want to do? He wants to take some Kryptonian crystal, throw it in the ocean, make an island. Why? Real estate.
Right.
I mean,
over and over again.
For fuck's sake. Look.
That just gave me a most bizarre thought. I bet Lex Luthor is really pissed at Donald Trump.
Oh, probably.
Real estate and the presidency.
I gotta wonder, in these movies, did Lex Luthor used to work for Century 21 and shit went bad for him? I mean, for fuck's sake, give the guy, he's supposed super genius, businessman, fucking rich, fucking cheap. What? Fuck. Give me a good Lex Luthor.
This is what we call Mitch's brain skipping a beat. Give him a second.
Yeah. Then you get this Jesse Eisenberg fucking abortion. And I want to know why Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is behaving like Keith, what's his fuck? Heffernan. What the fuck's the guy who play Heath Ledger's Joker?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is essentially a dumbed down, unpainted Heath Ledger Joker.
To me, he seemed like a spoiled frat boy that came into too much money too soon.
Yeah. He's a complete jackoff.
Yeah, he's a complete joke, which is something that Lex Luthor never was.
Right. Exactly. Lex Luthor was a villain that you could take seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got, a former real estate agent who's going to go back and shoot up an office one day. Or we've got this complete jack-off. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's so frustrating. And this is what I mean. It's frustrating. Well, these movies do not entertain, they frustrate.
What's frustrating to me is, the DCEU has a problem. They like to be repetitious, okay? I can name, I think, at least one or two villains that I want to see in DCEU movies that should have been in reboots and weren't, because they're so in love with the Joker and they're so in love with Lex Luthor. And it's like, I'm tired of seeing Lex Luthor. I'm tired of seeing the Joker. Oh my God, shocking, yes. But
I'm tired of the two Lex Luthors we've had in cinema.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, even on Smallville, the fucking 90210 with superpowers show, even then, Lex Luthor was intelligent and a bit of a plotter. He was scheming. He was putting something together. He was going to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Luthor, in order to be a good villain for Superman, has to be as smart as Superman is strong.
Yeah.
That's the whole gimmick. Yep. Hello, Hollywood. Why haven't you figured this out yet?
Brains over brawn.
Yes.
Socially retarded, Steve. That's why.
Because, Lex Luthor has always looked at Superman as somebody who uses his brawn over brain. Somebody that really isn't that intelligent. Even though Superman is smart in his own right, Lex Luthor's never acknowledged that.
Right. I mean, shit, look at how many times Superman damn well knew that Lex Luthor was behind something but couldn't do anything about it because he had no proof. That's how smart Lex Luthor was. Let's see, Boons. Lex Luthor in the animated series made a deal with Darkseid and gave him the anti-life equation. In the live action, I need to destroy things and sell houses. Pretty much.
But Boons also, too, and I've said this to Mitch and Ericor several times in our Discord chats. The one thing the DCEU has always done well, in my opinion, is their animated movies and their animated series. They've always made excellent series and movies. But for some strange reason, the parent company always gets in the way when they want to do a live-action, big-screen movie, and they screw it up every time.
Yep.
Like, in Batman versus Superman, pick one timeline. There were, 3 different timelines in that movie?
Oh, God, I don't even know. Well, the mistake they made there was the source material that they chose to pay attention to. The Dark Knight Returns. That should not have been a thing at that point.
My nephew here, he is definitely, I can say that he is a comic book geek, and he had seen Batman versus Superman, and I went over there to ask him. I said, look, I don't follow DC Comics all that well, so can you please explain to me? He goes, it was shit. Superman didn't die until after the Justice League was established.
Yep.
They jumped the gun.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've talked about that on this subject before, too. You don't ejaculate before you start having sex.
Well,
okay?
Not unless you're 16 and it's your first time.
Well, that's a different thing. But, people, I'm going to say this: people in Hollywood have had sex before. You know,
Yeah.
they should know a little bit about the territory.
Yeah.
Look, you don't do the first problem. They did it in Green Lantern too. Now that I mention it, now that I think about it, in Green Lantern they went from Hal Jordan gets ring. Look, there's parallax.
Yeah.
There's a whole slew of shit that goes on between Hal Jordan getting the ring and then fighting with parallax.
Yeah.
There's a whole slew of shit that happens between Superman landing on Earth in his pod, being adopted and raised by the Kents. There's a whole slew of shit between that event or that string of events and confronting General Zod.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole slew of things that happen between confronting General Zod and going up against Darkseid.
Yeah.
You know, but they keep doing the same thing. You know, they keep jacking off into their own coffee. You know, they're having their orgasm before the sex has even begun.
Yeah. They've always, I mean, it's like, to me, yeah, now that I look back on it, because I was one of the people that at first absolutely loved the Green Lantern movie. Not because of the storyline, because everything happened, everything was smashed together, and it happened, it was way too forced. But because to me, he fit who Green Lantern was.
Ryan Reynolds? Absolutely.
Okay? He was the Green Lantern. I didn't see Ryan Reynolds. I saw the Green Lantern. I saw Hal Jordan. I saw the, no fear having, but still insecure type of person that he was. I saw his interactions. Absolutely loved him. He nailed it, in my opinion. He just needed a script and a solid storyline that, went with the movie, which they didn't do. They fell short.
Well, that's what I was saying before. A good character makes you forget who the actor is.
Right. Well, and apparently a lot of green CGI does that too.
Yeah, they could.
You can do amazing things with After Effects.
Yeah. Can it not have a green suit? Can it not be animated? In the Deadpool movie, that was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Can it not be green and animated?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Again, like we said, in Deadpool, right guy for the right job.
Yeah, and see, I was almost scared before it went. I'm glad Ryan Reynolds went to bat because they didn't want to do the fourth wall breaks in the movie.
Right.
And, it's not Deadpool if you don't have those in the movie. It's not. It's not the same without him looking at you and saying some sort of smart-ass something.
Right. That's
continues with whatever he was doing.
Just now look straight at the camera and this is where it all went to hell.
Yes.
Yeah. That's part of Deadpool's shtick is speaking directly to the audience.
Mm-hmm. And when you take that away, you take away a dimension of the character.
Yes. God, I'm not a professional. I'm not a, maybe I should be. Because, if I don't know enough about the character Livewire, for example, the villain Livewire from the DC Comics. So you know what I would do? I'd put the word out. Hey, does anyone know a lot about Livewire?
Yeah.
And that's only after I'd researched the character, because researching the character won't necessarily be enough.
No.
Because, it'll tell me some things, but it may not be as informed as someone who has spent fucking decades being a fan of that villain.
Right.
That's the other thing, too. Villains need fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's
people that love to hate them.
Yes. I mean, that's part of what makes a good villain.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Loki is such a brilliant villain in the Marvel movies. Because people love the character.
Well, I hate reducing it all down to wrestling, but in old school wrestling, the best villains were the ones that people would pay to see get their ass kicked.
Yes.
Because they'd invested into hating them so much, and basically that was down to the guy portraying the role, mostly to get that sort of heat across, but they were so hated that people would pay to see them get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And it's got to be the same in these as well.
You've got to, and some of them, I was reading some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and watching Midnight's Edge, which is my favorite channel for the kind of movies and stuff. And it was like some of these production companies were really afraid of putting, a lot of these characters in their original uniforms because it would be, to them, it would look too campy on the screen. But if you want to be true to the character, okay, I will allow some, and I mean some modernization of the character to a point. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
But put some of his old uniform that you're trying to revamp into who he is. They did it perfectly with Deadpool. They fucked it up in the X-Men with the Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it didn't need to be bright yellow and black spandex. A dirty kind of grungy-looking yellow mixed in there somewhere would have worked.
Honestly, I'm when it comes to Wolverine, I'm of a different opinion. I think the orange and brown costume was better.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't like the blue and yellow because no matter what you do to it, it's still too flashy for me. Yeah. For that character, I think.
Yeah.
So I think the orange and brown one was a much better choice. I'm sad that they moved away from it.
Yeah. What I got pissed off about the whole franchise was that they made Sabretooth, in the X-Men movie, in the original 3, look like some dumbass mountain man, and he wasn't stupid. Well, he wasn't dumb.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't make him dumb. They just made him quiet. They made him. They got the menace part right, but he should have been more talkative.
Yeah.
Sabretooth wasn't a skulky, silent type of villain. He was kind of talkative. He was talkative for the same reason Wolverine would be. Yeah. He had that same kind of mindset that Wolverine has. Wolverine's mindset is basically Wolverine's not arrogant.
No.
As a character. Wolverine is just a badass and he knows it.
Yeah. Well, it's and Sabretooth wasn't afraid to, disagree with Magneto where other people were too afraid to do that.
Right.
He would be the first one to say, "Are you sure about this? Because I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is a good idea."
Right. That's
all the X-Men movies. They were like, "Whatever you say, boss. That's a great idea, boss. Whatever you say, boss. We'll do that."
Yeah.
It's like, really?
But yeah, the X-Men's uniform should have been a bit more colorful, and I'm glad they did eventually move that way. Hey, Gunny, how you doing?
And Gunny has arrived.
All cat people are stupid. I cannot argue with that. Because it would be illogical of me to do so. Well,
are we talking people who own cats or people who are cats?
Well,
which takes us all back to Lionel and Chitara and the Thundercats thing we were talking about a while back.
I kind of think that cat people, if they are cat people long enough and they wind up owning enough cats, I think they kind of become cats.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be cat people.
Yeah,
they become distant,
aloof, and very assholey.
Yeah, just like a cat.
They like to perch in high places.
See a full-grown person in a windowsill.
They play with their food.
They pounce on your feet while you're trying to sleep.
Yeah. Look at Kevin Logan. Good point.
Yeah, good point.
That's not a cat person. That's
a dog owner often tends to resemble their dog.
That's a potato.
I have to say that at least dogs are people.
Dogs have much more of a personality. Cats only have one bog standard personality that all of them seem to be issued with, and that is asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Oh, yeah, the Cations in Star Trek. Exactly, Mariel. I actually play one in Star Trek Online.
They jump.
Why? Because
really
they can jump higher. Because he can jump higher. That's all I care about. He's bouncy. I'm kind of upset that they don't have any dog people. When in science fiction, it's very rare to see a canine-based species, a canine humanoid. You always see a feline.
Worgen in World of Warcraft. That's about the only ones I can ever truly recall seeing. Other than if they happen to be going back to an ancient Egypt theme, in which case then you get dog people.
I have to agree with Gunny. Dogs are better than most people.
Yeah.
And they are.
Judge a character, too.
Yes. And I think a recent study indicated that dogs are, in fact, smarter than cats.
I always knew that.
Which doesn't surprise me one bit, to be honest.
Nope.
Well, yeah, tell a cat to go get a newspaper.
Yeah.
You know? How many seeing eye cats do you have out there?
How many videos have you seen? Because I know I've seen 2 or 3 where a guy has trained his dog to get him a beer at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean,
the cat just look at you with a fuck you look on his face, stand up, put his balls in your face, and fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
My sister's brother actually trained one of his dogs to climb a ladder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, and to get back down without flopping, as a dog would most likely do, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, we all know the guy on YouTube who trained his dog to salute.
Oh, yes. You know what he should do? What Count Dankula ought to do? He should just change his name to Count Spunkula.
Yeah.
You know, and then let everyone fucking cry about that.
Makes me really, really glad I no longer live in America where there's a cereal called Count Chocula.
Hey, don't knock Count Chocolate. Only comes out once a year.
I always preferred Frankenberry, though, to be totally honest.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What was the other one? There's Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Booberry.
Booberry.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody forgets the ghost.
Yeah, for some reason I was trying to think of a werewolf there. Don't know why.
Either that poor ghost was underrepresented in the cereal world.
Indeed.
Truly an oppressed individual.
You know what the DC movies are like? That it's like someone in the cereal business saying, "Hey, I have an idea for a cereal. Let's do one with that's puffed rice, only chocolate flavored."
Table Come, that was terrible. I use random women as seeing eye humans as under the table work, however.
Oh, well played.
Well, I mean, the last thing I saw from Midnight Sage, they were discussing why another possible reason why the DCEU's franchise is failing is because they planned it to be a franchise.
Yes.
And everybody knows that they planned it to be one. Unlike the way Marvel started out their franchise with just one solo standalone movie and then, you know, the little caveats at the end to give you hints and teasers.
Well, yeah, it's like in Marvel they said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if?" Like, yeah, it would. I'll tell you. Let's try to play this out a bit. Put a scene at the end of the credits and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then let's do it with this one too.
Yeah.
Okay, but at DC or at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Because Warner Brothers is the movie studio behind the DC cinematic thing.
Yeah.
At Warner Brothers, it's like, you know, we could make a lot of movie making a connected universe.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different approach going in.
It was a more blatant approach.
Hey, Gunny confirms the new Star Wars sucks dog cock.
Well, it's like you know, love me or hate me, I've always nicknamed the last movie as Star Wars: The Last Mary Sue.
Yeah.
So, I've never even seen the movie, but I always had, you know, a bad feeling about the damn thing.
Well, I don't know if you were here for that part, Mad Woman, but we had covered Star Wars rather extensively, I think.
Well, you know, I missed that one.
It's going to bother me to do a rehash, so I'm going to try and shorten it as much as possible. Too much marketing. I didn't want to see the movie because of the last 2 Star Wars movies.
Oh, I caught that part. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the marketing needs to be simplified.
Well, I mean, that's for all the movies nowadays. A teaser trailer.
Oh, yeah, really.
When we used to grow up, a teaser trailer was maybe 10, maybe 15 seconds if we were lucky, sometimes 20 in the rarest case. And it teased you just enough to pique your curiosity to want to go see the movie. Now, you've got 5 different trailers. All of them show you the best parts of the fucking movie, which leaves you asking, what's the point in going to see the movie?
Right.
You know the storyline. All you have to do is link all the trailers together.
It's like, oh, these two might get together. Look, you could tell from the trailers that they might get together. Mm-hmm. Oh, look. And apparently there's a little bit of trouble. But now the only thing that's left out of, that you really need to know is that they fight over something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, gee, didn't see that coming. I guess I didn't need to pay $10 to $14 to see this.
And usually by the time they're fighting over whatever it is, you've forgotten whatever it is that they're fighting about, if you even knew or cared about it to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like, and I'll use Will Smith in Suicide Squad as an example. It's almost like the movie companies are saying, hey, you have to come see this Will Smith movie. No, that's not enough. You know what was a good movie? Misnamed but good was this breaks my rule about remaking a successful movie. The Karate Kid.
But they should have called it the Kung Fu Kid.
Yes, they should have, because distinct difference.
Exactly.
But that was a really good version of that story.
Yes, it was.
I would say this. I would say another one that you could add in there would be it was actually a TV miniseries. No, it wasn't a miniseries. It was a TV movie, but it was a remake of The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
Sometime around 96, I think it was.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, I mean, and I'll put a caveat on this one. I'll tell you one movie that they did that, unfortunately, because of the SJWs, got a lot of damn controversy. But if you watched it not knowing the backstory of any of the characters or not linking it to any of its previous materials that have come out over the past 20 or so years, Ghost in the Shell was not a bad movie if you look at it as a standalone entity. If you don't compare it to its previous movies and if you don't compare it to its anime, being a fan of all the previous works, just that live action movie by itself was not a bad movie.
Well, see, that's one of the tragedies. You know, don't tell me you're making movie X. Mm-hmm. Okay, especially if movie X is based on a separate property.
Yeah.
Because I would rather find out that they had made movie X and then go see it. And the reason why is exactly for the reason you stated there about Ghost in the Shell. Because if they say, okay, we're going to make a Ghost in the Shell movie, I mean, they're not telling us. They're in their little meeting at their oversized conference table. And, you know, hey, we're going to make a Ghost in the Shell movie. Let's see. Let's put this here. Put this. Ooh, CGI. Hey, never thought of that before. Just look at the end of every DVD. Okay, we put this in here. We do this again. And when they get to the final product, and they go, you know, this really doesn't resemble a Ghost in the Shell movie. That's when someone's got to say, okay, it may have some elements that are similar, but let's call it something entirely different.
Well, I mean, it had enough. What I saw from that movie was they took elements from 2 different animated Ghost in the Shell movies and put them in the same movie.
Yeah, I just found a flaw in my plan, though.
What?
Well, say they do a Robin Hood, and it's absolutely nothing like Robin Hood.
Okay. So we need the Kevin Costner one.
Okay. That's actually kind of a good example.
Yeah, it is.
Very good example. Now, okay, you take that Kevin Costner Robin Hood, but after they filmed it and the movie's basically in the can, they can't just release it calling it the land pirate of part of the British Empire.
That's probably why they tagged Prince of Thieves on it.
Probably. Oh. Because all the names in them, they had their Little John, they had their Robin Hood, they had their Maid Marian, they had their Sheriff of Nottingham. You couldn't use all those names and then say it's the somewhat dissimilar version of Robin Hood that we're calling by a different name. If you know what I mean. Because the movie's already in the can. You know, it's already done. All the production, post-production, everything's done. You can't just change the name of the movie now.
Yeah.
Or even if you just give it a whole
fucked.
new movie and then you just put in parentheses based on the Robin Hood universe or the Ghost in the Shell universe. Because then people go, okay, well, it's not supposed to be that thing. It's just supposed to be kind of around it. People, that's fine. I can accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would have been more accepting to it if they would have said that it was, you know, based on, you know, the Ghost in the Shell movies and the manga. Based on it is completely different from just tagging it, this is the Ghost in the Shell, because then I'm going to be a little more critical of what I think needs to be in that movie to make it a live action Ghost in the Shell movie, because there was a movie, an anime movie called Ghost in the Shell, period. So if you're going to name a live action movie that without a based on caveat, then I'm going to expect that live action movie to be as close to the animated version as possible.
You know what movie I would love to see? It would be sort of in the buddy cop vein, but they wouldn't be cops. Or one would be an ex-cop, but for this particular reason. I would like to see a modern retelling of a combination of Zorro and the Lone Ranger.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Where, you know, because the one character is basically left for dead, and the other one is a little more idealistic. I think Zorro is a bit more idealistic.
Yeah.
In his origin.
Yeah.
I think that would make an interesting buddy cop movie, but set it in modern times. And yeah, you know, the one guy still, you know, they wouldn't be, Zorro wouldn't be using a sword and a whip necessarily, at least not regularly. Yeah. But, you know, he might still leave his mark. And the Lone Ranger, the character based on the Lone Ranger would probably still leave something like a silver bullet as his mark.
Yeah.
You know, as a calling card. You know, it would be an shit. Even if it's just one of them, it wouldn't have to be a buddy cop thing. But like, imagine a modern retelling of Zorro.
Didn't they do one about 10 years back?
No, they did a. When I say modern retelling, I mean set in modern times.
Kind of like pulling a Sherlock.
Yeah. But doing it with either the Lone Ranger or Zorro, where you know they're on horse. They were on horseback. Now they're on motorcycles. So there's a bit of that element to it. You're still riding across the country, or at least in the Lone Ranger's case, riding across the country as sort of the Phantom, or you know the previously thought dead Texas Ranger.
See, and I can hear an Atlas autistically screeching when I say this. Mariel, I would love to see a live action Cowboy Bebop, because that's actually feasible.
I'm waiting for the autistic screech.
For Atlas to come in and say that my favorite show sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
God,
no,
I freaked out.
I think it would be an interesting take on the Lone Ranger or Zorro. You know, how would that type of character...
And Tom towing a sidecar.
Yeah, you could have him stop at every place he sees pollution and start crying.
Yeah, but whenever they're traveling anywhere, you've got to have the Dick Dastardly and Motley theme. Catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon.
Well, really, I just kind of want to see how such characters would fare in modern times.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, with Zorro, you'd have to take, for the most part, you'd have to take away the rapier and the whip.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about taking away the rapier. It'd just be sort of, it'd get used once in the film. What can I say? I'm a traditionalist. And that'd just be a sort of nice little nod, but that'd be about it.
Evil Gunny was thinking the same.
Yep.
I was thinking
that Zorro the Gay Blade is fucking hilarious.
Red as a radish or red as a rose?
Two fruits, one vegetable, and one flower. They're just a bunch of funny little things in that movie.
Yes, there is.
I mean, and they're not even like, it's not even high comedy.
No.
You know, it's just
it's satire at its best.
It's just silliness.
Yeah, that's just it. It's silly.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And you know, and it's not like overtly dirty.
No.
Even though they have a completely gay character in it.
I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of movies miss out on. Is that there's certain times where a little bit of silliness actually raises the whole film.
Yeah, I mean, nobody did a parody better than Mel Brooks. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, actually. I'm not a fan.
When you're looking at the movie and they're watching the movie that you're watching in real time, and they're going,
"Oh yeah,
that was then, this is now." Well, how do we know if they catch up to us? Well, that hasn't happened yet.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, perfect. It was perfect because they were making fun of themselves because they were marketing the movie before the movie was ready to be marketed in the
some of it was brilliant. Some of Spaceballs was brilliant. And then there were some times where they just needed to cut back on the comedy as well.
Oh, like Combing the Desert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole vacuum cleaner thing.
I'm sorry, but Combing the Desert was a multi-tier joke.
Yeah.
Because
well,
no. Not that, because they had the one group who was using a comb and the group of black guys was using a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that seemed more a joke about combing the desert with an actual comb than it was about combing the desert.
Right.
So it was like a parody of itself in a way, and that kind of worked.
Yeah.
It was a visual gag that worked, but they took it too far.
It was made better at the end of that scene when the guy actually said, "We ain't bound shit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you out of breath? Because have you seen the size of this ship? If I would have walked, it would have taken me till the end of the movie to get here.
Yeah. No, the Schwartz.
The Schwartz.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. I am your sister's father's cousin's former roommate.
Yeah.
What's that make us? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. You didn't catch me playing with my action figures again, did you? No, sir. Good. What do you want?
Change the combination of my luggage.
Mel Brooks was a genius at that, and I mean, it's like, and then you had the History of the World Part 1. You never saw any of the other parts, but Part 1 was absolutely freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, I remember showing my son History of the World Part 1, and he almost fell out of his chair in several instances, especially you, run with mucus.
Oh, and then there's Blazing Saddles, where everyone wanted to talk about the sheriff who was a neh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. You know what's brilliant about that, retrospectively or retroactively? Blazing Saddles, it's a movie that could not be made today.
Oh, no.
But because of that gag with the sheriff who's a neh, right now, that whole gag about the sheriff who's a neh is kind of a commentary on how the phrase the N-word has developed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's basically a way for white people to say nigger without saying it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's oh God, it's annoying.
There's a lot of movies that when you think about it couldn't be made today. None of the Python movies.
Oh God, no.
No. None of them.
Pink Floyd, The Wall, another one that would never be able to be made today.
Oh hell no.
Well, you know, look at the TV. Three's Company could not be made today.
Oh God,
All in the Family could not be made today. Good Times might be able to be made today. Happy Days could be made today, but only if it was a multicultural cast, some with different sexual proclivities than others.
You just know the Fonz would be a Muslim now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Potsy.
Yeah.
What?
No, the sheriff.
Sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? Could Silver Streak be made today? The Gene Wilder movie, Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, because Gene Wilder, in that movie, Gene Wilder with the shoe polish basically puts on blackface.
Yeah, he does.
To get by the police because they're looking for a black guy and a white guy, not two black guys. You know, would that pass Hollywood muster today? I don't think it would. I bet they would change that scene.
Yeah.
Probably put him in a burqa instead, and say that well, no, they oh, the cultural appropriation.
Oh no, the burqa is a sacred item of clothing, so no, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it wouldn't. But, you know, they'd try to come up with something.
Yeah.
That's, you know, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor together were a fucking great comedy movies.
Yes, they were. They played off each other very, very well.
They really did. I mean, it's just, I'm sad that on the movie services that I have, I can only catch one of those movies, Silver Streak.
That's another one. I mean,
and Mel Gibson.
Yeah, it's another one like we were saying about Ghostbusters off stream. The original Ghostbusters, not the feminized crap. Yeah. It makes you wonder how much of like the Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder movies was actually ad-libbed.
Yeah, I gotta wonder actually. I mean, because you know, you say Gene Wilder, most people resort to Willy Wonka, but or Young Frankenstein, or his work that was outright comedy. But he did a bunch of stuff that was not outright comedy, but still had comedic overtones to it, and it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, that Silver Streak is one of them. I mean, yeah, there were funny bits in it, but it wasn't necessarily a comedy. It's like when Chevy Chase did Not Seems Like Old Times. It was the other one with Goldie Hawn where he was a cop and the Pope.
Fletch?
No.
Somebody else come up with it. I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, God. There's a Plot to Kill the Pope, had Burgess Meredith as Goldie Hawn's landlord. Oh, shit. I can't remember the name of the movie. Someone in the chat will probably spit it at me, and I'll go, God damn it, I knew that.
And the only reason you couldn't do the Silver Streak or Trading Places, as Fuckwad said today, is because everything they think is blackface isn't blackface because they don't understand what blackface actually was. Because they keep referring to the Othello play where that actor was in blackface, but he wasn't in blackface in a vaudevillian way. He was in blackface to be as a character who happened to be black. That is not the same as being in traditional blackface. And these people don't understand that nowadays. Nope.
Soul Man. I bet Soul Man couldn't get made today even.
Oh, no.
God, it's sad.
They would burn Hollywood down. Wait.
And Soul Man was basically an SJW movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten that annoying and that petty.
Mm-hmm. It has.
Hear no evil, see no evil. Oh God, that would never get made today either because it's taken the piss out of the disabled.
Oh yeah.
Left, right. Cows.
Wait, what the fuck can you make today?
Not SJW bullshit that most of us don't want to see.
Jesus. Well, no one wants to see it. I mean, you know, at least they finally got a new editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, who's and this guy has put an end to a bunch of the SJW stuff that's not selling.
Yeah.
Shit, Gunny, soap. Yeah, you couldn't do soap today.
No.
Probably you couldn't do Benson either.
Nope. Because Benson's the
You couldn't do anything that was an honest examination of the differences between races. They just won't let you.
Yeah, God forbid they tried to do something like Different Strokes nowadays.
Oh yeah, because that would be Oh God. If they did, they'd reverse roles.
Mm-hmm.
Two white kids learning how important it is to be black instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, SJW Star Wars. God, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
I mean, I know I would absolutely despise it, but there's a morbid part of me that's actually curious to see what a pure SJW movie would look like.
Cringe.
Oh God. You know what it would look like? It would look like a piece of shitty performance art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chico and the Man. You couldn't do Chico and the Man today.
The problem with movies today, other than them listening too much to the narrative of a few, because let's face it, social justice warriors are few. It's the minority, okay? Is the fact that when you do these things, you are accentuating the wrong aspect of the character. You are either accentuating the femininity of the character or the sexual orientation of the character, and not writing a character that has depth, that has feeling, that has something
right
that you can relate to. Instead of, oh yes, here is Rey. Yes, for those of you that read the canon, these are Rey's parents, so Rey's going to be a Jedi, but, she's learning how to be a Jedi, but she just happens to be a she. Not, look at Rey, she's a she, she's a Jedi now, even though she hasn't had any fucking training, and she can sit here and do the Jedi mind meld because, hey, she's Rey and she's female.
Yeah.
I shall be back in a moment.
Up. Right on. Thing is, actually, yeah, Gunny's right. Ghostbusters 2016 was an SJW movie on every level, and it was absolute shit. Thing is, the character Rey I liked up until she started using the Force, like she'd had training.
Yeah. Because when I saw The Force Awakens, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, she's surviving, she's doing everything she can to survive, and then I keep watching the movie, and then I remember, what the fuck? How the hell did she teach herself how to do the Jedi mind trick?
Yeah,
that takes a Jedi years to master, and she just now found out that she had Force powers. What the hell is going on?
Exactly. And the only reason she found out was because, she initiated an instinctive defense against Kylo Ren's probing.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the best she should have been able to do.
Yeah.
And still be, somewhat legitimate.
Right.
Even as an instinctive defense, she would have to be extraordinarily strong in the Force to oh God, I sound like one of those people with the Darth Vader cape thing. She'd have to be extraordinarily strong in the Force, or well trained rather, to put up proper defenses that Kylo couldn't bash through. He'd be able to bash through.
Oh yeah. They made her a complete and total, they made her, as I would like to call it, a one-dimensional character. Most other people would call her a Mary Sue. She could do no wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing she could do.
In fact, this just occurred to me. Every time there's a Star Wars movie, they're always talking about someone being strong in the Force. How about a Jedi-type character who is weak in the Force and can't rely on the Force to the same degree that all these other strong in the Force types can? So they actually have to work a little harder physically to be able to do certain things.
Well, see, it was often stated in a couple of books that I read for the Star Wars that featured Leia that, yes, she was quote-unquote strong in the Force, but she never really practiced. That wasn't something that she was going out of her way to practice because she had all these other things going on. Keeping
she was already too wrapped up in
Right.
She was already too wrapped up in her life and in her bigger pursuit of creating a government.
Right. So instead of being quote unquote strong in the Force, you could say she was weak in the manipulation of it because she didn't put priority to it.
Right. And that's fine. That actually makes sense for her character. But I still want to see a character who is legitimately weak in the Force get into and basically train and work and learn and just bust their ass to be the best Jedi swordsmen.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're so good at it is because they don't rely on the Force.
Yeah.
And that winds up actually being their strength.
Yeah.
That would make a fucking awesome character.
Yeah. It would.
But they wouldn't do that. Hollywood won't do something like that because, but they have to be able to throw the rocks and to raise the R2D2 and to take Yoda for flips on a backpack.
Well, okay, so he can throw the rock. Doesn't mean he can throw it accurately.
Right.
Yeah. That would be my response to it. Well, he's got to be able to do this. Okay, he can do that.
Well, see, like Luke, let's say it's the midpoint of his training when he's on Dagobah with Yoda, and they're at the point where he's like levitating shit and while doing a handstand. This person, Luke would like lift the rock and then push it to throw it. Okay, right. This person couldn't do that. This person could either lift it or push it.
Right.
But not both.
Yeah.
Because by the time that person's concentration flipped from lift to push, gravity would have taken over because they're weak in the Force. It would be a shit. Just imagine the Jedi character growth you could get out of such a character.
Oh yeah, you get a lot more growth in a character from them being mediocre than what you ever would be from being super heroic.
Right. And that's my problem. That would have been a great character arc for Rey, actually.
Because then at the end of the movie, you get the feel good moment when they actually do manage to do it.
Right. You get it's oh my god, an actual payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But every Jedi we've seen, they've always been strong in the Force. It would have been cool to see a Jedi Master on the Jedi Council who was weak in the Force.
Yeah.
And that would have been a valid thing to have because, again, look at what everyone strong on the Force on the Jedi Council did. They fucking let the Republic down. They fucking sat around, drinking their tea and having their meditations, and they couldn't foresee shit. They when things happened, it called for immediate discussion.
Yeah.
Because they were
you. Oh, sorry.
Because it's evil triumphs when good men do nothing, is the expression. Well, that sums up the Jedi, doesn't it? And what is this fucking shit about Jedi becoming generals? Never trust a peacetime general. They're made of paper.
Well, I mean, what I never understood wasn't. I know why they did. I know the philosophy behind the whole Jedi bullshit. Okay. But you can't, even in sci-fi, it's a bit ridiculous to expect somebody that can wield power to be either light or dark, depending on the emotions they choose to draw from in order to use their power.
Yeah, that's lame.
Because to me, that would, me and my friends, without having read the books or whatever, had come up with the idea of a Jedi somewhere in the middle that could use both light and dark powers, but was just a regular person making logical decisions.
Right. You know why? They maintained a little thing that we like to call balance. Yeah. Oh, God, they didn't. How did they fuck that up in that? Did no one... George Lucas needs someone to say, George, you're wrong. Because what they apparently considered balance in the Force was extraordinarily one-sided.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much there that's absolutely lame and does not hold up to even the most minuscule bit of scrutiny. But, God, that would have been... See, I would have loved Rey being the being weak in the Force, but still Force sensitive.
Yeah.
Clearly. Because that would have been a character arc. And because, what we got was basically this is Rey. Yep. And suddenly it seems that she was bit by a radioactive Jedi.
Galaxy. Okay.
And she didn't even have the cool bit where she learned about great power comes with great responsibility.
Yeah, they skipped that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I have not seen the latest outing. I'm sure nothing much has changed.
Mm.
Aliens, fucking space Mexicans.
Yeah. Okay.
What do they do? Cross the fucking help me out here. Asteroid belt and then stop.
They hopped over the space wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Hopped over. I mean, the part in The Force Awakens where she grabs her dad's lightsaber and she has these flash. I can understand that. Okay.
Wait, did it turn out that Luke? I thought it turned out that her father was,
well, I mean,
or her
getting
parents were.
flashes from, you know, let's just say Jedi flashes, visions. Okay.
Okay.
That I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay. She doesn't know she's force sensitive. She's never had to tap into it. Here is somebody that's been living a life of survival and a mundane life, for lack of a better term. Goes to this city, finds this thing, gets told to pick it up, and when she gets, she gets all these flashes at once, and it freaks her out. That's a natural response.
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened? And then, nah, I don't want anything to do with that. Sorry, I'm good. That's a natural response. And then she goes from that to, let me try the Jedi mind trick on this guy so I can get out of these manacles and I can escape. Do what now, sister?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Somewhere between finding that lightsaber and ending up in Kylo Ren's clutches, somewhere in there she was bitten by a radioactive Jedi. That's all there is to
it. Yeah.
Complete with an instruction manual so she could learn all of the terms.
Maybe if they'd stopped masturbating over the location of Luke Skywalker and found the radioactive Jedi that bit Rey, they'd be in a much better position.
Yeah.
Because clearly that Jedi's around there somewhere.
Clearly. And making super Jedi all across the galaxy.
Yeah. God.
That was just ridiculous. And a lot of people pointed that out. A lot of people that weren't feminists, let me put it that way, pointed that out. You can't go from not knowing that you have the Force to being able to do the Jedi mind trick. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have just hit the 4-hour mark.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, doesn't time fly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, time flies when you're pissed off about frustrating movies.
Yeah.
Lopez.
Moosecow.
Midichlorian and rich spiders. That's what it was. Hey, that at least explains the spider sense.
Yeah, that would.
I had to throw that in.
Well, guys, I think maybe what we'll do is we will knock this stream on the head here, because after all, we do need things to talk about on the next one. Not like we ever really have much of a problem with that, but... So, I would like to thank everybody for watching. Don't forget the thumbs up to let us know that you don't absolutely hate us. And don't forget to subscribe, because these are random. There's no schedule to them, and it's the only way you'll know we're on.
That's right. Welcome to the unadvertised stream.
the traveling stream show.
So yeah, we finally got a name for the show, and yeah, and it's a hell of a lot less of a mouthful to say.
Right.
Oh yes.
Your own little spot.
I mean, hell, it got so bad that Mitch was going to say, "What have we called this thing again?" Nearly. It's actually so. Have we come up with a name for this thing yet? Oh, right. Is that what we're calling it? I don't know.
Jesus.
Well, not only do you have a name for it, you got a spot on the server. So whenever you need to fire it up.
Fire it up.
Mm-hmm.
Groovy.
And I think I got a chuckle from Ericore when I said, your category shouldn't be hard to find. Everything's themed.
Jesus, cough is killing me.
Yeah, but apart from it did confuse me because it's MCL and it's MCL. What the hell is MCL? Oh, Moosecow and Lopez. Yay! I get top billing.
Are we still on or off?
We are still on because I kind of got distracted saying goodbye.
Oh.
So all that was live. Oops.
This is all fucking me right up in the head. Doesn't help that I have to shit.
And on that note, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Stay frosty.